bippity boppity and here and
There we go.
the old thing. We're ripping and roaring.
Yes, sir.
Happy Wednesday, hump day. It's only me. It's only the Kibber Show podcast. Harp, Heilpana, Harp, with Pete Davis, sidekick producer and sports raconteur extraordinaire. And, of course, a mechanical mangler at the controls, Flounder at El Condo Floundo. Podcast number 470, boys.
Yep.
The last day of August already. Labor Day weekend's coming. Holy smokes! In fact, we're gonna have a day off. We will do a show Monday on Labor Day. We will do a Monday show. And so I hope you have a great weekend and everything else as we go along. Anyway, man, we got a lot to talk about today. Newsy stuff, happy stuff. Anything new since last we spoke?
I had a bizarre thing happen yesterday.
Well, yeah, and
Okay, I went to my bi-yearly echo down at Piedmont Hospital. By the way, it's a really cute girl who did it yesterday, too, by the way. It's nothing like-
a heart echo thing?
Yeah, a heart
Yeah, I get those every
echocardiogram.
year. Yeah.
You're in the dim lit room. They lay you
she was
down,
a
a
hot-
warm blanket, and then
Little
they
sweet-
put the little grease on.
Yeah,
you
grease
know,
me
so-
up, baby.
I tell you what, I always fall asleep every time.
Yeah.
It was very well done.
Yeah.
So I'm driving home, and I always give myself a treat when I go to the hospital.
Yeah, as you should.
I'm going to go on Roswell Road. I go by the same Chick-fil-A every time.
Yeah.
Right there by High Point Road.
Yeah.
So you pull in. It's a really small little residential road that you pull into before you pull into
Yeah, I
the
know that
Chick-fil-A.
area. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So you pull in there. There's a guy standing on the left side of the road. It's a very tiny road,
Yeah.
2 lanes, under a tree. He's wearing a T-shirt, shorts like we wore in the 80s, like Larry Bird shorts.
Oh, boy.
And looks like a nice haircut. And he's holding up a little sign, not bigger than a license plate, not even that big. So you can't
Kind of
read
hard
it.
to read from
You can't read it.
which is the gimmick, obviously, to get you to go closer. I'm guessing in this
Well,
story.
but I'm coming in there, and he's pointing across the road to a dog who's crouched down by the dog. Looks like a shepherd type dog. And so I'm thinking, oh God, he's pointing that the dog's going to run out. So
Yeah.
I slow down,
Yeah.
right? Dog starts barking at me. He's trained it to bark every time he points. He barks to get the attention. So obviously he's getting money. I whip into
Oh,
Chick-fil-A, and I go up to the lady there, and I go, what is that guy doing? She goes, I think he's just getting money. And literally every car that went by, as soon as he pointed, the dog barked. So I'm thinking, okay, this guy's endangering the dog, blah, blah, blah. But if you call the cops on him, if they come and there's an
they're not
incident
gonna
and they
do
arrest
it.
him,
Yeah,
but if
they're
something
not gonna-
happened,
yeah.
the dog gets impounded
Yeah.
and he probably never gets out. And I'm thinking, is the dog probably better off, even though this guy's an asshole?
yeah.
The dog's probably better off with him. By the way, there's another guy in the bushes behind him sitting there waiting because there's this. Obviously, they were working together.
Twosome.
Two
They
bums.
take turns. Oh my!
So
God.
here's where it gets weird. So I get my food.
Oh, that's not the weird
no,
part.
that's not the weird part. I get my food. It takes about 5 minutes because Chick-fil-A is
Ugh.
always crowded at
Yeah,
noon.
yeah.
And I come back around, and just before I pulled out in the road, he got his money for the day, so he took down his shingle. And he walks across to the dog. And as I'm driving by, I'm going slow in case the dog runs out. The guy turns around, looks right at me, and does this.
Salutes you at attention.
Camera! And I'm like, okay, I got a floor.
Oh my!
How weird is that?
God!
What was that all about?
And by the way, I'll bet he was on his way to his car with his dog, and he probably had $800 in cash in dollar bills and 10s and 20s in his pocket too.
Yeah, because you're over by, you said you were off Roswell Road, right?
We're by the Popeyes down there.
Yeah, so you're not in a bad area.
No, it's not
Oh
a bad
no,
area.
no! So
No.
people have money, and people
Yeah.
are driving, and they have money. Plus,
It's a nice neighborhood that he's standing
You
in
can't
front
go
of.
fast. You're kind of trapped in the area and stuff. But it reminds me, remember the famous lady, they finally caught her. She was old, or looked old, very old, and she had a sign that said, Grandma, just out of the hospital, wanted to go home to see my kids, or something like that. And she was signed at I-75 and all the up and down Northside Drive.
Yep.
I mean, one after another. We'd see her, and they finally pulled her in and took her to the station. But I mean, she was the sweetest. She had a little smile on her face, and she just like, oh my God, everybody's grandmother. I mean, she was so sweet looking, a little special little sign. It looked so helpful. She had like $1,000 in cash in her purse. I mean, she did this
What are
for a
we doing
living.
here?
She made like $700 a week. 3 days a week, making money, tax free, of course. I mean, it was a whole scam thing. But that's what I've had people do it at a gas station. Hey, buddy, pull in next, or are there waiting for me to pull in. hey, my wife and I ran out of money. Can you lend us like $6 for gas? Or
All right. So when I used to live in West Midtown, there was a QT right by my place, and I'd go there all the time.
Yeah.
I had this one guy come up to me, straight homeless dude, walks up. He's like, "Hey, man, you got any money?" I was like, "No, I don't." He's like, "Well, there's an ATM inside."
I can tell you how to get your
I mean,
money.
I was like,
Here, let me lead you in.
"Sure, come on inside with me."
Oh, man. The balls
I-
on something.
What are we doing? We're working. We can be out in the street right now
Lordy.
making big bucks.
Well,
How
that's pretty
low would you
exciting.
have to get to do that? At what point in your life where you say,
That's literally one of the reasons why I left Atlanta or got out of there is because anywhere I went, whether it
just
was
too much.
whether it was the Target, the QT, anywhere I went, there was a haggler
Yeah. It's
waiting
just,
for you,
haggler?
like someone haggling for change.
and it must be worth it. They're obviously
I
making
don't
enough
think
money
that
to-
word means what you think it means.
A haggler is someone who argues with you. over
Argues
the
with you
price
about the price of something.
But that's all right.
Hassle, maybe.
Hustler. you
Hassle.
mean, Hustler. By the way, speaking of that, another sweet note from our big fan, Denise. I mean, my God. In fact, Denise, for the record, in fact, she even did something for my daughter, Jennifer. I mean, this
Wow.
woman is just, I mean, you're going to heaven when you die. I know that for a fact. But I've sent her out 3 thank you notes in the last 10 days, and I got this in the mail, so another one's coming on the way. In fact, I have to order more thank you notes. I have to go buy some more. Anyway, thank you, sweet lady. Also, just a quick, and I won't spend a lot of time on this, but remember the guy named Mike who sent us a letter, and he said, I love your show. I've been listening to you, And he said, I was a little, I'm a Christian. I was a little taken aback by some of the hard language on the podcast. But he said, I know people don't give a crap about something. So you said the word, remember? And we kind of chastised. We used the word crap. Well, he wrote, I sent him a thank you note for his thing. And he said, Kimmer, Pete, Flounder, wow. I was taken completely by surprise when your thank you note came in the mail. I almost threw it out thinking it was another sales con artist. I wanted to buy something. Heard you reading my letter I sent you and I was floored. I listened to the episode when you guys posted a while back and don't know how I missed that part. Anyway, I'm so honored and you're so kind. I'm so honored. I've been listening since Rush Limbaugh days in 98. Worked for Delta. His buddies, he'd be laughing and Wayne, no offense, and then we used to work there and he's back down again. And it was a very long, really nice letter. And he said, I hope you know what I meant regarding my card language comment. I would certainly never want to tell you how to say anything. And then he says, but it's funny that you threw down on me for using the word crap. I had a good laugh at that one. Anyway, Mike, thank you. P.S. Please don't even use my first name on the... Oh, sorry.
Let me see that. Okay, folks. This is one side. Is Mike's hobby writing things on a grain of rice?
In fact,
the hands-
it's a
There's a
teeny-
hole back here that he could have written a little bigger.
Well,
Not only that, are there any
but
are there any
I'm
lines
pretty proud
on the
of
paper?
myself for reading it without my glasses.
There's
without
no
my
line.
reading
That's
glasses.
printed. He didn't write it. It's printed, which is cool.
Well, but and let me go the last line. See what the last line says.
P.S. Don't use my first name.
No, that was me. Right before that.
God bless.
No, before that. Well, Christ.
Well, that's not the last line, then, now is
well,
it?
well, near the last line.
I tried my best
Yeah.
not to go on and on here, but looks like I failed. I'll stop here now and again say a deep, heartfelt thanks. I plan to continue to send donations as long as you guys stay at it. Thanks for all the memories.
Anyway, what he's saying is I tried my best to be short about it, and then he kept talking. He went right down to the bottom. So anyway,
That's just amazing.
Thank you, Mike. But again, thank you so much. Again, what's it feel like to go begging for gas at a gas station? We're begging for gas here on the podcast. TheKimmerShow.net. You can get a hold of us. If you want to get us an address to send us money, you can do PayPal. You can do Patreon.com/KimmerShow. Anyway, thank you all so much. It really, we want to keep doing this until the radio business gets smart and puts us on full time somewhere. It looks like this is it. A couple things. I put something on the podcast, a picture in one. I think this is from the New Yorker that we get the subscription, and I thought this was a very clever ad, and I want to give kudos to what I like clever things in literature or advertising and marketing and so forth. And I thought this was very clever. I put a picture of it on the Facebook podcast Facebook page. It's a one-page ad, and it's mostly a picture of a beautiful ring. I guess they can probably see that, right? On the, one way or the other? That way? You can probably see that's a ring, right?
Yeah.
And it's mostly a picture of the ring, and it says, I am not a ring, underneath it. And then underneath that, And of course, and I said, well, yes, you are. So I started, obviously I read it. And it says, I am not a ring. I slept on sun-kissed sands in Mallorca. I partied with beatniks in the West Village. I spent the night in a Parisian jail. I sipped Bordeaux as I trekked across Bhutan. My next adventure awaits. Ross and Simmons Rare Luxuries Collection. In other words, people who sold their jewelry, but I thought, what a very clever ad. Okay. What a very, very clever ad. And so I wanted to give them kudos. I want to give kudos to our friends at M&S Title Pawn. I mean, what a great idea! In fact, I've done this before, and it's really kind of fun. For that matter, you can go on the web or you can go in person and tell you how to do it. The name of the company again is M&S Title Pawn. Those are the two letters for the name. It's not M&S, it's M&S Title Pawn. They are in beautiful Bremen, Georgia, in Laurel Street, 306 Laurel Street, Suite A. They're open Monday through Saturday, in-person visits. They love to talk to you, see what you have or what you need, and they'll take care of business. Here's their phone number if you want to give them a call and see how they can help you before you get there. Area code 678-821-3337. That's M&S Title Pawn. Now, if you want to look them up on the web, you spell out what I'm saying by M&S Title.com. So you would spell it out on the web as manstitle.com, M-A-N-D-S title.com. Okay, doke. M&S Title Pawn in beautiful Bremen. Yeah, thank you so much. Let's see. God, there's so much to talk about here, and I hope this is not too terribly boring. Had a great time yesterday with Flounder, hitting balls. Flounder is you're a beginning golfer. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay, you're fairly new to the sport.
I've had clubs forever, but I've never played seriously, like once a year or twice a year.
You're clearly bringing it on. Now, obviously, you're athletic, and you're in shape. You work out, and you're very athletic. So, and again, I am, I used to be able to play. I haven't played in years, but I used to be able to play. My brother's a pro, and so, I grew up with kind of knowledge about golf, even though I can't really do it as well anymore, obviously. But it was fun.
Every ball he hit yesterday went straight and just about 180 to 200 yards.
Well, anyway,
Perfect hit every time.
Well, no, that hardly. But anyway, but it was fun doing that because I remember the days when I'm trying to figure out, the grip is so hard to get used to the grip and all
and
those
that's what we
things.
worked on the majority of yesterday was the grip because when I pick up a golf club, I pretty much want to hold it more like a baseball bat.
Like a baseball bat.
That's just natural, and you don't hold a golf club anything like a baseball.
Yeah, and in fact, and I think I remember
Rip it, rip it.
Yeah, well, no, I mean that's for
John Daly.
That's for some of the older boys and girls. But anyway, that was a lot of fun, and it made me. I'm getting the freaking bug for golf again. But I'm such a head case that I know I can't do my swing.
You know what you need to watch?
What's that?
Juwan Howard's. Did you see that video?
No.
He's up there left-handed trying to swing, and finally he can't hit it. Did you see it? Juwan Howard,
No.
he's left-handed, and he keeps hitting the ground. And he's doing it real stiff like this.
Yeah, like
finally,
Barkley.
Jack Nicklaus walks up and takes the club from him and tries to show him how to do it. And he manages to hit the ball about 6 feet. And everybody's like, okay, I'll never play golf again after watching that. That's the worst thing. It made Charles Barkley look like a PGA Tour guy.
Man.
He's kind of fixed his swing a little bit.
Yeah, Barkley used to be.
It was awful. It was
Well,
just like
Howard's is beyond even Barkley's worst.
It's amazing. But that's why, in fact, remember, who was the closer for the Braves? God, back in the late 90s?
Closest to the pin, center field from home plate?
No.
Who was that? That would be me.
Big, tall, dark-haired guy, right-hander.
Smoltz?
Nope.
Bowlers?
Yeah, Mark Wohlers. I think it was Mark Wohlers, and was playing golf for the first time, a full golf course at River Pines, and the pro at River Pines at the time hitched me up with him and somebody else from the Braves, as I recall. And I was with, and he was asking me advice about the golf swing, and the point was, it's just like pitching. When you're taking the club back, it's like loading up on your right foot when you turn your back to the batter, and then you unleash it by going to your left side. It says pretty much, and I kind of showed him that thing. He got his first birdie with me at River Pines. He'd ever been on the golf course, and I thought, how cool is that to remember, your first birdie and stuff like that. And I happened to be there with a Braves star pitcher. Anyway, that's pretty cool. So Flounder, that was great fun. We'll keep doing it.
Yep.
And by the way, we got so lucky. Right after that, the storm hit, man, came through. In fact,
Not even like half an hour.
Oh my God! I was getting ready to go to the stable, and all of a sudden, hear this crushing noise, and I look out on my deck. My entire flagpole apparatus was ripped right off the deck wood, right off the railing. It was laying in the driveway, and I don't even know for how long, because I was upstairs on my computer doing something, whatever. So, and I thought, oh my God, I didn't even want to take a picture of it. I was going to show how bad, but I don't even want a picture of my flag on the ground, on the driveway. But anyway, that's how bad that storm was. Ripped the whole damn thing off of there. So here's how I spent my afternoon. I was going to go to the stable. I go to the stable on Tuesdays. I've been skipping Monday and Wednesday, but anyway, go to the stable.
I take the car out on Tuesdays. I take
There
the
you
car
go.
out on Tuesdays.
Well, I have to have a schedule. Well, you can only afford so much.
Go to
You get $5
Kmart
a gallon, 10 miles a gallon on gas. And so I had to re-drill and repost the flagpole thing. And then I live near the Dame Amphitheater concert place. One Direction concert was last night. And so the traffic, and between the rain and the traffic, and there were wrecks, and the One Direction, I never made it to the stable. And guess where the concert is tonight? Rod Stewart. So I'm going.
You're going to be there, obviously.
Yeah, no. But I'm going to try to get out of my townhouse place because I mean it's just a nightmare. I freaking hate it.
Speaking of
here.
traffic.
Are you sure it was One Direction? Aren't they done? Was it a?
I thought they were over.
Yeah, because Harry
well,
Styles.
Oh no! Wait a minute.
In
What
sync.
the hell was I thinking of? One Republic.
One Republic.
One Republic.
Okay.
Public.
One Republic. More of a kiddie type thing. But again, it's a freaking mob scene.
What's the curfew there?
I don't know
Well,
if
it's
there
a
is
time
one.
that limit that's set up for children that you don't.
What is
not
a curfew?
important right now.
Never mind that now. That's not important right now.
Let's say.
Got you again. Hey, honey, what's the code? Well, it's a series of numbers. If she laughs, you're in. I'll have sex with you.
What were you saying there, Father?
I completely forgot. You screwed up my train of thought.
The curfew.
Curfew.
I don't know if they have one for concert
'Cause
nights.
I know-
My guess is that it's probably
I mean,
three.
because that
I can
amphitheater
hear.
is in a neighborhood, and it just like Chastain has like a 10:30, 10:45 curfew.
I think they had a problem. I think Chastain had a much more serious noise issue than this one does. I think they're made better. And I don't know whether they have I've lived there 9 years. I've never driven into the amphitheater to drive into the.
It's
see
a
what it
really
even
nice. I mean,
looks
it's like any normal outdoor amphitheater, but it's really nice because it's surrounded by trees and stuff. So there's some privacy.
I live 500 yards, and I've never seen it. I've never even driven in to say, "Oh, that's what it is."
It's nothing
Tonight's
like.
tonight.
But I'm going to avoid
As
the
Rod
place.
sings
but I-
tonight,
but now
the
I'm already
night for love.
But I'm already ticked off because I know my afternoon is going to be a nightmare trying to get video of the horses to post around the world, and it's going to ruin my whole freaking night. And I don't know when I'm going to have dinner and everything. It's just,
Answer me this, Batman.
Yeah.
Who was there first, the amphitheater or you?
me, baby. Oh, sorry. Well,
Okay.
I don't think that's an issue.
It's like the guy who moves by the airport.
Yeah, well,
Planes. We're gonna screw up.
I know.
Did you see Ashford Dunwoody? The
Oh,
truck blew up or
my
something underneath
God.
the bridge.
Shut down. Boom. Oh.
Yeah, well, they opened it up today. But
Yeah.
in Memphis, did you see the truck carrying Alfredo sauce?
I saw that
Yeah.
this morning.
Spilled
The
it all.
tomatoes.
It's white all up and down the road. And in California, the tomato truck. And
yeah.
there's marinara sauce
Millions of-
all over. And I'm thinking, if that had just happened, those two trucks
Yeah.
hit each other on Spaghetti Junction.
Oh, now there you are.
We could have had the world's biggest Olive Garden.
We could have.
Yeah, but you don't mix those two, do
You know,
you?
with that you get breadsticks.
But had to be breadsticks to sop it all up. You know? How do you clean up Alfredo
Oh
sauce?
God, it's hoses. I gotta get the fire trucks out there. Oh brother.
I'm hungry.
Anyway, speaking of video for the horses, I got a very nice note here from Lee, Leigh. I think it's a female Lee. And her last name was Bailey, spelled a different way. Lee Bailey. And it says, love your videos, so horse videos on Facebook page. Love your videos, watching from NI. And then I heard another clink a few minutes later, and she wrote back, "That's Northern Ireland."
No,
and I thought,
Northern Iowa.
I thought, how cool is? I get such a kick out of people are watching right now from around the world. I mean, it's just,
Not us.
Well,
Your horse
not
videos.
us, no. But I mean, it's unbelievable. And these silly horse videos. I mean, and it's mostly women. And they're, saying, gee, it made my day happier to hear you being such a goofball with these silly horses. Anyway, it's...
Speaking of golf,
Yeah.
Alan says his invite to come.
Ellen.
Alan says his invite for us to come play Brookfield with him is, and he says, tell you your chopper parking spot is still there.
Back when I had my super trike. And I still have my chopper, but it's broken. I can't ride. I haven't ridden it in 4 years. It's basically a hood ornament or an ashtray. It's in the garage all by itself. But I used to drive that with my golf clubs on my shoulder on my Harley custom chopper driving up to the country club. Well, we'll take them up on it one of these days. And by the way, also now, Flounder, you understand, I am not a golf pro or a teacher by a million years.
But,
So, I mean, we still need to get you with Danny.
But for what I'm trying to learn, the basics right now, you can easily help.
I can help you at the moment, but obviously I'm not, the guy to rely on.
Well, maybe next week, see if Danny wants to meet us on Tuesday or Thursday.
Or play if you want. Of course, it would have to be, again, if I play, I'm not going to be playing from the tips, until I get my golf sense back. So anyway, we'll figure something out. So we'll get Danny involved here. Hopefully it'll be fun. Let's see, a couple things. Speaking of sport, a quick sports thing. I thought this was, and I put something on this on the podcast Facebook page also. I was reading the sports section on Tuesday. And again, if you want to look at the Facebook page, you'll see this video. And it was an interview and a story about Dansby Swanson. And it was about whether his stature extends beyond the field, because now they're thinking about having to trade him because he's going to be expensive. I don't think they're going to trade him. I can't imagine they would want to. But again, that's the story, is whether they should. They're assessing his value.
They can't trade him.
Well,
No, the trade deadline's passed. They wouldn't get him through waivers.
Well,
and he's a free agent at the end of this year, right?
As free agency looms, Braves must assess shortstop's value.
Well, yeah, but they can't trade him.
Well,
because
get
once
rid
the
of him.
season's over, they can't.
Okay,
they can't,
but again, whether or not they're going to keep him around in
Right,
a
whether
long-term
they're gonna
contract,
sign him again.
yeah, sign him. So that's the issue: is how much he is worth to the team. And they talked about his leadership, and he's not a rah-rah screamer type guy, but he is. And here's what I thought was interesting: it said he kind of runs a ship for us. Said reliever Tyler Matzik. I think he's the same guy every day. You know what you're going to get from him. As for his definition of leadership, Swanson pointed to servant leadership. Come to serve and not to be served. That's how he conducts himself daily. Holy smackaroonies.
Well, here's the thing.
Non ministrari sed ministrare. Do you know what that means in Latin? Not to be served, but to serve. You know where I know that? From my prep school days at the Lenox School Preparatory Academy for Boys, and that was our school motto. And I showed the picture of my beer mug from graduation in 1964, which I had in storage and just found, with the same motto as Dansby Swanson. And in 1964, that was our prep school motto:
God.
Non ministrari sed ministrara, not to be served but to serve. And Dansby Swanson obviously is the same kind of American that we appreciate here in Georgia for all time. Thank you.
Did you see how fast he turned that Dansby Swanson story? About him.
Yeah.
But now, wait a minute. But how cool is that? I mean, of all the things I
how weird
read...
is- people talk Latin all the time. They put Latin phrases out there.
That is a pretty random.
When's the last time you heard somebody talk a Latin phrase, you lying
Sic
sack of...
semper tyrannis.
Oh, my God. Always a tyrant. Yeah, Pete Davis, always a tyrant.
Such goes to tyrants or something like
You've
that.
heard people talking. You just have to.
I mean, come
you have
on.
to badmouth, poo everything.
Oh my God!
What-
Okay, am I okay?
What are
he
the
totally take that
chances?
Dansby story and make it completely about himself.
What are the chances that I'm reading the sports section on a Tuesday morning and I'm reading a motto from a Dansby Swanson, the superstar with the Bentata, that happens to be my motto, and I see my beer mug from 1964?
That's
you don't
your
think
motto.
that's kind of
Every day of your
that's-
life, you say
oh
that
my
when you wake
God.
up in the morning.
Doesn't
you,
matter
the first
whether
thing
it's
you
every
think
day, every day.
It was on my
You
beer
tell
mug.
yourself
Oh
to
my
serve
God.
others.
So in other words, this is not an unusual coincidence. It happens every day. People use Latin every day with every sports star when they're reading the freaking sports section, and they say, "Hey, honey, that's my." I see the word bulldog in the news. You know, I used to be a bulldog. I'll be damned. I guess that's a coincidence.
Did you know
You dirty bastard.
how many Latin players there are in baseball now? Come
17.
on, 30%.
I thought that was really cool. I'm sorry, I really
How old is Dansby?
He's going to be 30.
So he's still got a good
He's
bit.
29, 30, somewhere around
So
there.
he's still-
Oh, hell yeah. He's got
Oh,
several years.
yeah.
All right. So once once he's allowed to start talking and all that, does he not make the same mistake that Freddie and his agent
He's
did?
got the same agent.
That's-
the same agency, but it's different. He's from Atlanta. He's not from L.A. He wants to be here. He might take a small discount.
Well, he's not like
Free agent,
Freddie, anyway.
shortstop free agents is just completely inundated. There's
Yeah.
great shortstops
Yeah.
out there. And I heard the Kansas City guy the other day talking about the great shortstop. He didn't even mention Dansby. I'm thinking, God, he wins the World Series. What more
Yeah.
can the guy do? He's had 2 great seasons.
Did you see the
and he
throw
goes
he had
down the
last
list
night?
and doesn't even
What is
mention
it,
him.
Arenado there all talking? Or who's
No,
that
you're not.
big superstar?
Well, Carlos Correa, who's kind of with the Twins and kind of not. He can opt out. Maybe he can opt out.
Yeah.
But there's a kid, the Bogarts, I think,
Yeah.
from Boston.
Boston.
And
There's a
some
couple
others.
of really good. There's one
Oh,
for
Trey Turner, who's to me
Yeah.
the best shortstop in baseball is
Yeah.
Trey Turner.
Yeah.
You look at his stats compared to the other ones, he leads in almost every category.
Yeah.
And he's fast as hell.
Yeah.
He's injured a lot though.
Yeah.
But if I don't have Dansby, I'd love to have Trey Turner.
Speaking of Holy Crap at Sports, your sports podcast later on today, I'm guessing?
Already did it.
Already? Oh, my God, America.
Already
And do you have a top thing to tease for them? Holy Crap at Sports with Pete Davis, best podcast sportscast.
We're talking about the college football games coming up starting tomorrow night. There's a lot of
Any
predictions,
favorites to
a lot
look
of big-
at this weekend?
Well, everyone's going to be watching Georgia, Oregon. That's
Georgia,
pretty
Oregon.
good.
That could be a good game.
And Notre Dame, Ohio State, which
That could
Ohio
also
State's
be a
going to
good
blow
game.
them out of the damn water. I don't understand how Notre Dame, with a brand new coach who's never been a head coach in his life, is ranked number 5 in the country.
Yeah. Didn't
That's
bring a bunch of his
bullshit.
players with him, too. But
That's
again,
just
still, he hasn't
horse
played
crap.
yet.
They're all loving this guy, Marcus Freeman. Great. He's won the press conferences. Let's see if he can coach as a head
Yeah.
coach. We'll
Yeah.
see. But number 5, please.
That seems awful high for an
Because it's Notre
untested-
Dame. And they
Yeah.
always
I know. Anyway,
Georgia should win that game probably pretty easily, I'd say.
yeah. One thing I wanted to, did you see the creepy tennis butt girl story? My friends, this is really bizarre. In fact, oh yeah, I've got this on my, hold on a second to get it on my phone. While I'm getting this on my phone, Pete, why don't you tell the little people?
Kibber's getting on his phone. Brought to you by Atlanta Custom Closets, closetpro.net. 404-255-0589. That's Atlanta Custom Closets. You got a closet, you want to go to closetpro.net. If you need a closet, you don't have a closet, you want to go to closetpro.net. They will help you revamp it, rehabilitate it, get it back on its feet again, and so you can walk in with your feet.
There you are. Now, here's the deal. I did not see this, but I saw it. I did not see this in person because I wasn't watching the U.S. Open ladies thing with the thing, tennis tournament, but it's on all over the place. A teenage tennis player's Grand Slam debut at the Open is being overshadowed by lewd chatter on social media. Sarah Balek, a 16-year-old female athlete, hails from Chechnya. And it doesn't say Chechnya, it says Chechnya.
Yeah, that's their new name.
That's their new name for Chechnya. Anyway, one of the
Not the
former
Czech
Soviet
Republic.
satellite countries.
Eastern
I guess.
European.
Yeah, Eastern
Former
European. country.
Czechoslovakia.
Yeah. Okay, so this Czech chick, 16-year-old Czech chick, made headlines after a close. She defeated Heather So-and-so UK. And then the footage of her leaving the court, going over to be congratulated by her father first, and then her coach, Jacob Karhun. She hugs her father. You've got to look at the video. In fact, Pete, I'll show you the video while I'm talking to the little people. She hugs her father, who then runs a full body hug, and he runs his hands and fondles her fanny, pats her fanny, rubs her fanny. She's 16 and built. Then she goes to her coach, who also gives her the full body hug and rubs her fanny and pats her fanny and rubs her fanny. And social
He
media
keeps it there a
went
while.
nuts.
He does keep it there a while.
I mean, he's fondling her fanny.
he's not really fun. He's patting it.
Well,
and
he's
keeping his
also
hand
rubbing
there.
it. Oh, now come on. Wait a minute. Yeah. And
By the way, if
yeah.
she worked as a hat check girl, would she be a hat check chick?
She the hat check chick. Yeah. Somebody said there's no reason to touch a 16-year-old girl on her butt like that. It's beyond inappropriate. The video progressively got worse and worse. Another said, talk about creepy. It reminded me of Joe Biden. The World Tennis Organization needs to look into these things since young girls are traveling with men from a very young age, and they're defending it, saying, "Well, it's common in Chechnya. Not something I would do, but many men just don't think about it." From Chechnya, I guess it is. Google our Eastern traditions. You might be shocked. The embrace is perfectly normal in some cultures and households. People see what they want to see. Anyway, it's unbelievable.
Well, you're judging them by American standards.
Well, they're in America.
No, they're in
They
New
did it on
York.
US
They're in
tennis.
New York.
Well, that's right too. It is a foreign country. I'm sorry. Anyway, but I thought that was. That's unbelievable.
I don't know. By the way,
Brandon, I kind of, I watched. You guys ever seen that movie? Is it King Richard?
No, I saw about the tennis girls.
Yeah, I
Selena
mean,
Durham.
it was on last night, and I caught the tail end of it, and
I reached my quota with Serena about 10
I'm
years
not
ago.
watching any of that stuff.
I'm-
I guess it
go
was supposed to
away.
be a good with a guy who punched, who gave slap Chris Rock.
Will
right?
Smith.
Will
Yeah,
Smith.
Will Smith.
But was it true?
Oh, did you see the latest on their daughter? What's her name? Not Dakota. What's
the
her
one that switched the trams?
No.
No, that's the boy.
Oh, is that the boy?
No, the girl. Her name is Snow or Willow. Willow. Isn't that their daughter?
Willow
Yeah,
Smith?
Will Smith's daughter, Willow, and so and so. They were social media is bragging. I went on Twitter. Social media is bragging about her because she has underarm hair, and
I'm French.
she has underarm hair and like teeth tattoos and stuff, and so she's her own person.
Good.
Oh God, that's
away from me.
that's great.
By the way,
yes.
Doug says morning from Seattle, so he's watching in
Hey,
Seattle.
Doug, thank you so much.
And,
Time change, 3 hours.
Cindy says, record time, Kimmer, bringing the story around to yourself.
Now, my first true love was named Cindy, you little rat. And did I tell you a story? I think I did. It's probably a stupid story. That her last name began with a B. Her name was Cindy, and she went to Mount Holyoke Prep School. And I met her through some preppy friends, and I fell in love with her. She was a cutie. She wasn't knockout glamour. She was a cutie, and I just loved her. Everything about her was just fantastic. Had total crush on her, and she looked at me like a big brother. Her name was Cindy B. Last name started with B. And I was 16, 17. I was going to spend the summer away from things, so nothing ever happened. A couple years later, I ran into her, and I took her to my prom and prep school, but nothing ever happened. I was hoping it would, but it never did. Okay, that was 1963, 1964. Fast forward to 1968, and I'm on my way to Vietnam. And I'm at the airport in uniform, and guess who shows up with her father? Cindy B., my ex-girlfriend.
For you?
No, she was on the way to see her boyfriend who was in the Army. But again, so we sat next to each other on the plane. But again, this is all of a sudden now I'm in the Marines, and she did whatever she did for those several years. And I met her at the airport, and that was pretty cool. And I was thinking, what if, and what a shame. And I still loved her.
Did you tell her?
Oh, she knew I was nuts about her. She let me make out with her one time. She let me really, really make out with her for like an hour. It was great. It was unbelievable. Anyway.
Hour?
Yeah. Oh God. And
You didn't even pat her butt?
No, no patting. No, nobody did anything back then. No, I mean, if you were lucky if you, did a little over the thing with the thing. Anyway, so that's like 60s. Okay, then all of a sudden, fast forward into the 70s. I'm the news director, working in radio. I'm the news director, operations manager, and the morning show guy. And I get a phone call from the front desk. Said there's a Cindy B, same name, here to see you about a job interview. And I'm thinking, oh my God. How
Did she speak Latin?
That'd be unbelievable. And so I said, send her back. So they brought her back. It was a totally different girl named Cindy, same name B.
You think it's funny? Cindy here says my maiden name starts with B.
Oh my God! If that
Could it
if
be?
it, if
Do you
it's
speak Latin,
is
Cindy?
Is the last letter T of your last letter of your last name?
Do you live
T?
to serve others instead of being served?
None could. I freaking love it. Anyway, so it was a different girl who was a complete flirt. I mean, she basically propositioned me in order to give her a job, and I kicked it up to my boss. So I got out of that thing because I was married. I didn't want anything to do with her. But anyway, so that was my Cindy B story. Anyway, you kind of reminded me of a happier day in my existence. Okay, we got newsy things. Some let me do this first. This, our president Ungambwan Nakawaka. That's his American Native Indian name. It stands for President Who Showers with Naked Daughter. President Shower with Naked Daughter has now turned complete hate speech hater divider in chief, worse than Putty-Tat Obama was. I didn't watch it, but I saw the highlights of him mocking people who support the Second Amendment, mocking all you brave Second Amendment supporters. If you don't support the police on January 6th, you're not. I mean, just all of a sudden, he's Mr. Law and Order guy, making fun of people he called fascists.
Yeah, he called us fascists.
I mean, those two things, honestly, they're asking for it. And for this guy to all of a sudden he says, well, you're not for law and order if you're not against January 6th for all those police who died. He actually said all the police who died. Yeah, on January 6th. All the police who were killed on January 6th in the insurrection. My God. And the crowd's, yay, 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 going crazy. The most divisive, hate-filled speech, mocking people, calling us all kinds of freaking names. You brave gun owners, you brave gun owners. Well, bears in the woods don't have Kevlar vests. He also said that the was it the AR-15? I think it was the AR-15. Shoots a bullet five times faster than any other bullet.
What? How does that happen?
That 5 times means 500%.
I know.
Faster than any other bullet. It goes right through you. Come on, man. That's no joke. That's no joke.
If that's true, I'm going to get one today.
I've got a couple. You can have one. I'll bring it tomorrow.
All right. Or Monday.
I mean, oh my God. And then his staff is going nuts when he starts going off cue
Wait
cards.
a minute. Don't you think all the Obama people around him who did the hate speech and it worked for them are steering him in this direction?
Absolutely. Susan Rice, and I guarantee you, Hillary's people
Jarrett and all the rest of them?
Absolutely. Valerie, that whole ilk, that whole cabal, that left-wing cabal. I guarantee it because it worked when he was in his basement and the Obama hate speech, and it worked. And they're doing it again, and he's mocking people.
His approval rating right now is at 40. That's the lowest it's been in a while.
Yeah, but it's been in the upper 30s. It's probably working. I mean, that's what scares me. It's probably
down
working.
from last week.
Yeah. Well, again, we can only hope.
It's working with his base. But the centrists have got to be going.
They got to be saying this is not. And again, when he goes off script, he says, it says like my deceased son Bo. He called him my deceased son, as my late son would be. My deceased son Bo. He was Attorney General in Maryland. Was it Maryland? Attorney General. And, we used to go down to the place they called the Hobbit down there. He says, I used to go down to that. That was the worst neighborhood in the world. It was all, I was the only white guy in the whole place.
Yeah, today or yesterday, he was talking to some people about how he was the only white lifeguard at a pool he worked at or something.
Yeah, he said that's right. That's what I'm saying. He said I was the only white guy in the whole area. I used to be a lifeguard down there. I was the only white guy in the whole area. I used to go down there all the time in that black area down there. This is the same guy who said Barack Obama looked like a really clean-cut black guy for a black guy. Looked really clean-cut and was a well-spoken, clean-cut black guy.
And you can't go into any 7-Eleven in Delaware and not see an Indian.
Well, and that was on the Indians, Pakistanis, but even more in the black thing. He even remember he actually said, black children are just as important. Let's see. Black children are just as smart as white kids or something. No, that wasn't it. What the hell was it?
Poor,
it was a reverse
He immediately said if you're poor, you would be black.
Oh, that was right. Poor people are just as important as white kids. That's what it was. He said, you poor children are just as important as white children. Therefore, clearly, all poor children are black. I mean, but see, it was so convoluted that even I couldn't remember how bad it was. That's how mixed, the mangled syntax. You poor kids are just as important as white kids. Oh my God. Anyway, he won before, and it scares the crap out of me. But he's such a freaking liar. It's sickening to see the new attacks on the FBI. Oh my God, I'm opposed to defunding the police. I'm also opposed to defunding the FBI. Yeah.
Did you see what Ben Stein said? He said, F the FBI.
Yeah. Let me tell you, we need to replace the FBI. Excuse me.
Kimmer blowing his nose, brought to you by Farmhouse Printing Company.
Well, there you are.
FarmhousePrintingCo.com. Printing custom shirts and hats and signs. No minimum orders, no setup fees. Now with laser engraving, all your Kimmer Show t-shirt needs, Holy Crap at Sports, whatever you need, FarmhousePrintingCo.com has it. Business cards, tumblers, whatever, they can do it at FarmhousePrintingCo.com.
And by the way, I've got a bunch of things I'm going to be ordering from Eric at FarmhousePrintingCo.com for my son-in-law and also my kids and grandkids, stuff like that. So, I use their service because they're just so good at it. The worst thing that President Showers with daughter has done lately, though, is his new deliberate attack on conservatives. He's got this is Wednesday as we speak and do the podcast. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, the 1st of September, he's got a major speech planned where he's going to attack conservatives as dangerous to our democracy, which is not democracy.
Rule of law. He's already got the La Latrine saying we're dangerous to the rule of law.
Dangerous to the rule of law. He's got people saying that if the Republicans win in 3 months, will be the end of our democracy.
And this is the guy who just hired 87,000 new IRS agents?
Yeah, but he claims that we are violent. He says the Republican Party believes in violence, using violence to win their political ends.
Bullshit. That's what they did with George.
The opposite. The country burned for 2 years under Democrat leadership. They still I'm trying to be calm. They still to this day, Merrick Garland is not cracking down on protesters violating federal law. Still to this day and night, keeping up Supreme Court justices awake at night, screaming outside their homes. It's against the law, and they're not cracking down on it. They're not for law and order. They are against giving money to the police. They are in favor of defunding the police. They were in favor of all the those rioters got away with everything. Most of them got all the charges dropped. We know about the January 6th so-called insurrection where they're still in prison. This is just, it makes me so freaking mad. And then to claim that it's the Republicans and the conservatives who are willing to use violence for political means. What evidence is there of that? It's the exact opposite, and they're getting away with it, and I'm so freaking angry about this. This president is a scumbag.
He's got a speech tomorrow?
Tomorrow night,
You know
Thursday.
how many college football games are on tomorrow night?
I hope there's 100 of them.
There's at least 20.
Yeah, good. Well, that's maybe.
Hell with them.
Well, I'm not. I can't. I'm not watching. I can't. I won't. I can't watch him.
I know what he's going to say, so I
Yeah.
don't care.
Why? But again, it makes me so
He's a
freaking
pedophile.
mad. They are. I believe he's a child molester. I think he gets his kicks. And I don't know whether he's ever actually raped a child, but I think he probably fondled his daughter in the shower, washing her off or giving her a good rinse and whatever. I think he likes little kids' bodies. I think he gets turned on by sniffing and fondling
It's not
children.
normal. All the videos and everything. That's
Look at
not
him. This whole,
normal.
We've shown you some of the pictures. Looking at his little daughter when she was in the bathing suit that time and oogling her. God, and he's just a freaking lion. It's just making me so freaking mad. Okay. Another newsy thing. In fact, I heard Neil Bortz this morning on, we are affiliated with radio station 106.3, 106.3 Extra 106.3, where you can get their free app because the signal's pretty bad. And I could do a call in on Friday mornings, and they replay an hour of our podcast on Saturdays at noon. So we're linked to them with the podcast, stuff like that. And again, this is all at thekimmershow.net. Anyway, this morning, Neil Bortz does a commentary, and Bortz was saying, Trump has got to go. He said, he's got to go. He's a psychopath. He's going to ruin everything. I've worked with him. I can't even talk about how bad a man. I mean, he went on and on and on about he's going to da 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 da. And so now let me ask you: did you see what what Donald Trump's release was yesterday on social media about the latest thing with the FBI? They're basically admitting that they finagled the election.
It says he's still president.
Here's what Donald Trump, and again, I'm going to refer to the story, which is on even Fox News is saying he may have just lost his mind. I'm really nervous about this because all of a sudden, even people are really reacting to the Donald Trump situation even more critically as we get closer to the election, which makes me nervous. In social media eruption is on Fox News. Trump demands a new election or immediate reinstatement. I'm telling you, this is what it is. Hold on a second. Let me get the damn picture over there. Donald Trump said 2 weeks ago the temperature has to be brought down in this country. Again, this is how Howie, what's his name, is writing the story for Fox. Here's how he covers the story of what Donald Trump said. Donald Trump said we need to bring the temperature down in this country, raising it to heights that would burst the thermometer. He's gone on what we would call an angry tweet storm. If he was still on Twitter, pumping out 36 postings and repostings on his far smaller Truth Social app. Ouch. One of the repostings was from QAnon, although the former president may not even know that. But more stunning than Trump's attacks on Joe Biden, pictured as he had soiled his pants, rhino Republicans, and of course the fake news media, is his sudden embrace of what he has been called with the fringing of fringe positions in Trump world. Seizing on Zuckerberg's admission that Facebook suppressed a Hunter Biden story, Trump writes, the FBI buried he would have won if it had come out. Then Trump drops the hammer. Quote, remedy. Declare the rightful winner, and this would be the minimal solution, declare the 2020 election irreparably compromised and have a new election immediately. Donald Trump says he wants a new election immediately, or he should be declared president. The presidential election was badly and irreparably tainted by the FBI's fake description of Declare the rightful winner or hold a new election now. And then this guy Howie writes, time for a little reality check. There's no provision in the Constitution for overturning an election and putting the loser back in the White House. On and on and on. So who would do that? Supreme Court? And he's calling for an uprising at the FBI. When are these great agents and others in the FBI going to say we aren't going to take it anymore, much as they did when James Comey read off a list of all the crooked Hillary Clinton's crimes, but didn't prosecute? The wonderful people of the FBI went absolutely nuts. Perhaps we need a reminder the Bureau is run by Chris Wray, Trump's appointee. Anyway, go on. But again, Trump says you should either declare the election was null and void or make me president right now.
Okay.
What the hell was that? Why did he...
Okay. You're playing into the media's thing here, and the Democrats thing. Democrats can say the most outrageous bullshit and hyperbole, and we just go, oh, it's just the Democrats. But when our side does it, goes beyond the pale and uses hyperbole, we all, clutch our pearls and wring our hands like, oh my gosh, we can't do that. We're playing nice, and we're losing. Losing. He could be batshit crazy for all I care, and I'm still voting for him.
I'm still voting for him. He still is. He was the best president we've had at least since Reagan, and maybe one of the 2 or 3 best in the last 150 years for what he did for America. Forget the tweets and the comments and calling people names. For what he did as an American leader, none of the things in the world today would be happening if he were still in the White House. Putin would not have invaded Ukraine. We wouldn't have this situation with the economy. I mean, honestly, everything would be back.
He told the Germans there at the UN, he told them, you cannot rely on the gas from Russia. They'll cut it off.
New Deal
and they sat there and laughed.
That's
you see what the Belgian guy said yesterday? He said, we are in for 10 to 12 hard winters because we're running out of energy.
They're running out of food, and without energy, they're going to run out of food. The farmers are not able to farm. This Green New Deal business, we saw when it was at Holland and Germany and Belgium.
The farmers are still doing it.
My God.
You took an autistic little shit from Sweden,
Yeah.
Greta or whatever, and she's turned that entire continent
Yelling
on
at
its
adults.
ear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they've completely got rid of the. In fact, South Korea
Elon-
said yesterday.
Yeah, go
South
ahead.
Korea says we have relied too much on this renewable energy. It's not working. We're going to do more nuclear.
Elon Musk just said we're all going to die. He said if we rely on this green energy business and we don't stop, he said if you try to get rid of fossil fuel, we're not going to survive as a planet.
Right. Well, he says for two reasons: we're not having babies.
Yeah.
And we're not
we
using
can't feed
fossil
or take.
fuels.
Yeah, we couldn't take care of the population we have. Unbelievable. Now here's the way I look at it. As far as I'm concerned, new polls show Donald Trump, if the race were run today, Donald Trump against Joe Biden, Trump would win by 60-40. New poll just out, Herschel Walker is now leading Raphael Weifnacher by 25 points. Herschel Walker is going to win in a landslide. Tell your friends to make sure they get. No, it's unbelievable. In fact, so-called Reverend, the phony minister Raphael Weifnacher, was so angry that he threw one of his beer bottles at the pulpit, shattered part of the piping on the pulpit, and accidentally sent a sliver of wood into a little child's eye in the audience, blinded a young child, for God's sake. Weifnacher, and never even apologized. He just stormed off. He was so ticked off, that he's going to lose the election by 25 or 30 freaking points. Also, I thought this was
hearsay.
I thought this was pretty. Well, that's the way that's what I heard. I saw a poll somewhere. And did you hear? I'm not making this up. Teen Vogue. Remember our friends at Teen Vogue? Was it last year or so? We're telling little girls how they
years
could
ago.
avoid getting pregnant by doing, the old good old fashioned sodomy. Showing little girls how to do sodomy if you're 12, 13, 14, so you don't get pregnant. Sorry, I don't mean to. Teen Vogue is now coming out with a huge political initiative, and it says, "Fight like hell for Stakey, the Kool-Aid monster, Stakey Abraham. Fight like hell for Stakey. Fight like hell for Stakey," because they want the young girls who read Teen Vogue to realize that if Georgia doesn't elect Stakey as the repeating governor of Georgia, that young girls will lose their right to have abortions when they're 12 or 13 or 14 years old. Teen Vogue, it wants the young girls to know, to pressure people to vote when they're 18 for Stakey, because if Teen Vogue is worried that if she doesn't win, that the girls who read Teen Vogue aren't going to be able to get their abortions without telling mommy. I mean, Jesus, come on. I mean, my God. I mean, it's deliberate. Teen girls, we got to fight for our abortion rights, girls. And a girl, again, you can still have your abortion. You might have to drive to another state, but you can have your abortion.
Work for it.
I mean, yeah, it might
Try and
be a
work as
little
hard as you
awkward.
did to get laid.
Yeah,
you know?
it might be. You might have to, drive a couple of states over. Okay, poor baby. So I mean, maybe be prepared. I mean, come on, that's not the end of the world that you have to drive your car.
Take the pill, take the implant, put a condom on the guy, or keep your legs crossed. It ain't that
Or
hard.
do it the good way. Whatever. I mean, there's a lot of.
What do you mean by that?
I'm just not saying
Please,
anything.
elaborate.
No, I'm just.
Can we get a drawing?
What do you
or
mean by
something?
that? But first, hold everything.
Oh, I don't know if you should follow that with a commercial.
No, talk
right off the
about
bat.
dead crow defense, because I could be
They'll
a
love
dead
it.
crow right now. My God, my American friends, dead crow defense. And in fact, we talked about again. President Showers with daughter is going after our guns. He's going after our ammo. He's going after the right to bear arms. He's making fun of people who support the Second Amendment. I mean, he's mocking legal gun owners. Since when do legal gun owners need to shoot a bear in the woods with a Kevlar vest, stuff like that? Well,
bears.
yeah, that's right. One time everybody shot a bear. And by the way, around here, I mean, come on. That's not why I have a 9mm in my pocket.
My great grandfather was allowed back in the Confederate Army because he had gone AWOL, and they liked him because he was a doctor. So they let him keep going home. He went AWOL, and to get back in good graces, he killed a bear and brought it back for them to eat.
Well, there you are. That good bear meat, man. And to say nothing to the fur coat. Anyway, Dead Crow Defense, if you're looking for ammo, it's not just a gun store. It's your personal gun custom dealer place. And if you've been nervous about the China kill virus pandemic and all the ammo prices are going nuts, if you can't even find any ammo in most places, Dead Crow Defense to the rescue. They have the best ammo prices since before the pandemic. All the common calibers are in stock, ready to ship, and things that are in stock go out the next day. Dead Crow's not a gun store. It's your personal arms dealer, your personal gun dealer. I'll give you the phone number to call them and see what they have, if they can help you out. And again, if it's there, it goes out the next day. If it's not there, they'll get it. Here's the area code, 678-576-9117. 678-576-9117. You can get them an email at sales@deadcrowdefense.com. Look them up at deadcrowdefense.com. It's not just guns and ammo. It's personal safety devices and gear and uniform type things and stuff like that. Check them out, deadcrowdefense.com. And if you're going to get something on sales@deadcrowdefense.com. Don't forget to use the promo code KIMMER, K-I-M-M-E-R, at checkout for 10% off your first several orders at deadcrowdefense.com, your personal arms dealer. There you are. Now, speaking of arm things, I'm going to do a quick kind of a Marine Corps thing. And again, by the way, the last couple of days, there's been some coverage of the. I forgot to do one more story about the FBI before I get to the Marine Corps coverage. There's one of the families is suing Alec Baldwin, which I think is hysterical, and I hope it works. But first, Biden and his FBI. Some FBI agents now are speaking out that the director, Miss Christine Wray from Atlanta, the embarrassment of Atlanta, the ghost in charge of the FBI, the people have lost complete faith in his leadership. They're saying, how does this guy survive? He's got to be kicked out of here. Agents have lost confidence in Christopher Wray. All he does is go on and say, we need more training, we're doing stuff about it, or we won't tolerate it. But that doesn't do anything. This one guy left his job after 25 years a couple of months ago because of the politicization at the top of the FBI. And again, it's not
Say it in Latin, you can do it.
El Mando, El Gamnia, Gallia, Duedes, and Tres Partes. Agricola. And of course...
You just summoned a demon. You know that,
I know that. I know it's true. And of course, Donald Trump nominated him because he didn't know. He was given bad advice on that one. After he fired James Comey, who should have been in jail for lying. James Comey lied about the whole Hillary thing. I mean, he just plain lied, covered it up and lied and helped her get away with violating federal law. Anyway, whistleblowers saying that Wray fails to take action after being notified about problems, claiming he's forced to sign that they were forced to sign false affidavits and sexual harassment claims, according to the Times. They tried to get rid of me at WSB doing that. Ever tell you about that story? When there was a secretary came in, this was back in the 90s, I was there. It was number one, but they wanted to save money. And so they called Skinny Bobby Harper in first and fired him. They called Kathy Fishman in second and fired him, called me in third and fired me. And they all had to pay our contracts for like a year, but they got rid of us. And they went to the traffic guy became the morning guy. So they saved 3 salaries by having just, the host going in there. Yeah, right. Anyway, and now more of the news. Anyway, but before that, they tried to get me. We had a new secretary showed up, and she liked me, and she was cute, and she was hot. And in fact, I invited her to go to take a Sunday drive with me up to Dahlonega or something. She was new in town or something, and I met her, picked her up, and we drove up, and that's what we took a drive, and I think we had a late lunch someplace, and that's all right. We had a nice lunch, and I bought her a couple things to take back in a go box because she was just moved into her place or whatever. So I was just I was polite, was a gentleman. I think I may have kissed her goodbye at the end of the day. I don't even remember doing that. But anyway, so I took her to the whatever, probably hugged her, maybe a little kiss on the cheek. Okay, so that was basically it. The next day, or a couple of days later, she was a secretary in the newsroom. And so the news director, who was a complete a-hole, he was the guy, oh my God, this was unbelievable. This guy was such an a-hole that when I used to do the news with Dave Folk, I mentioned Dave Folk the other day, and I like the 7 o'clock news, before that I'd do a tease, and I'd say, coming up at the top of the hour, the latest on the rush of the Sozo and the Fingity Bang. And he actually called me into his office to complain to me that there is no such thing as the top of the hour. And I said, golly, Lee, actually there is, because, I mean, honest to God, I wanted to just pound him. And he said, I can't, he forbade me from saying the phrase coming up at the top of the hour. And I said, I've been saying that for 40 years, or whatever. Anyway, so, I mean, that's what kind of an a-hole he was. Okay, so back to the story. This cute secretary girl now, and she was probably 40. I mean, she's a grown woman. This is not some kid. And so she was kind of flirting with me, and I made the comment about something like, or I said, well, you're sure looking good today. Like, or it's easy to say because you're looking real nice today, or something like just kind of an offhand comment walking by. I get called into the office with the three of them, the general manager and the other manager and the news director, the general manager, program director, and news director, and they hand me this letter. And it's a big, long letter from the company, and it says, I admit that I have violated my personal standards by unnecessary and immoral, flirtatious behavior, violating the human resources, on and on and on. I said, whoa! I said, what the hell is all that? I said, well, what is this? And it was obviously a setup that I would violating my, some clause in my personal service or whatever it was. And so I said, well, yeah, that's a thing, and we just can't have this. And I said, and I started getting ticked off, but I didn't hit anybody, but I started getting ticked off. So what I did, they said, we need you to sign this. And I said, okay. So I took my pen, and in huge letters, I wrote, this is not true, and I initialed it and gave it back to him.
Good.
And nothing happened, although they fired the girl.
Why?
Not next day, but as I recall, they got, and I think they said that she got another job or something. But I think they fired the girl, the one, and she was not anyway. But so this business of
well, Cindy just said another quick turnaround there, Kevin.
Yeah, that sounds like the old girl I was in love with my whole life since 1963. I've loved that girl.
I don't even remember what the hell he was talking about.
I've loved that girl since 1963. That's probably the one. Anyway, I was talking about a letter, and I don't know why I got totally sidetracked. They shut down the Hunter Biden investigation scheme. The FBI agents were forced to sign phony affidavits claiming they were guilty of sexual harassment and stuff. Anyway, if Republicans take over, they may get to the bottom of this business with the FBI. Now, what I wanted to tell you about before was a quick Marine Corps story. Again, I don't want to dwell on it because that being a Marine is not fair, but I've been extremely upset this whole last several days when there were remembrances of the pullout of Afghanistan a year ago, almost to the almost to the day. Was it 2 years ago?
Probably 2.
No, it was a year ago. Year ago.
Was it a year ago?
Yeah. Anyway, and I get so freaking angry about it because it was the biggest disaster in the world. I saw a feature of one of the commanders was telling people how horrible it was. They didn't have any supplies. They didn't have any security. I mean, when all of a sudden President showers with daughter, told him to get out, nothing was ready. They didn't have any power. It was a total freaking nightmare, chaos. Everybody running around everywhere. Didn't know who was a civilian, where do they go? I mean, nothing was planned. It was just an absolute disaster of a withdrawal. And the family of one of the Marines who died is suing Alec Baldwin for the social media posts calling the sister of the dead Marine an insurrectionist. Here's how it started. The Marine, Royce McCollum and Cheyenne McCollum of Wyoming, sisters of Marine Lance Corporal Riley McCollum, who died in Afghanistan, have filed a lawsuit for the second time against Alec Baldwin, accusing him of negligent and reckless posting social media comments. They filed a lawsuit in Wyoming that was dismissed because they didn't have jurisdiction over him because he lives in New York. So they filed a suit in New York asking $25 million, saying that Baldwin accused Royce McCollum of being an insurrectionist on Baldwin's social media post, leading to her being attacked verbally by his fans. Marine McCollum was 20 years old, one of the 13 service members, mostly Marines, killed in the suicide bombing in Kabul during the withdrawal from the country last summer, a year ago. Baldwin contacted one of McCollum's sisters on Instagram and donated. Here's the background. Baldwin donated $5,000 to the family's GoFundMe page as the Marine being killed at the suicide bomber. Baldwin donated $5,000 to the widow as a tribute to a fallen soldier. His baby was born 18 days after he was killed. So his widow, 18 days later, gave birth to their child. The dead Marine's sister posted a photo to Instagram of herself at the pro-Trump, mostly peaceful Ashley Babbitt rally January 6th. And the posting of her at the rally on January 6th posted Alec Baldwin to say, "Are you the same woman I sent money for your sister's husband who was killed during the Afghanistan exit?" And then he said, "When I sent the money for your late brother out of real respect for his service to this country, I had no idea. I didn't know that you were going to be the kind of person that you would take the law into your hands like that." And she said, "Protesting is perfectly legal in this country, and I've already had my sit-down with the FBI. Thank you. Have a nice day." She was protesting peacefully. Baldwin wrote back, "Your activities resulted in the unlawful destruction of government property, the death of a law enforcement officer, and assault on the certification of the reposted and so forth." Reposted on her page. He has 2.4 million followers. He accused her of being an insurrectionist. Seemingly benevolent overtures turned into a nightmare. They began to get hostile. Anyway, she's suing now because of he turned the crowd on her. Anyway, nothing will go anywhere. Nothing's going to happen other than I get to say what happened. Remember the dead Marine and the rest of them because of your president who did this most ass backwards withdrawal in the history of any military operation. One more quick thing. Speaking of what happened in Afghanistan during the withdrawal, the disaster withdrawal, some of the heroes, people are speaking up now. One of the heroes of Kabul was Corporal Hunter Lopez, one of 13 people also killed in the suicide bombing. Here's what Corporal Lopez was doing at the airport during the withdrawal when the other Marine was also killed. Hunter Lopez, the Marine corporal, saw two girls at the airport fighting through a sea of people trying to escape the Taliban. The Marine's mother said Hunter jumps into the pit, thousands of bodies pushing to get past the gate. Hunter jumped into the pit to grab those girls. He grabbed one girl, brought her to safety, then jumped back into the mob, got the second girl, brought her to safety, went back toward the wall after that, and that's when he was blown up with the others by the suicide bomber. His last efforts as a Marine and American were to save two little girls who were trying to flee the country that killed him. Semper Fi. And again, that withdrawal, it makes me so freaking mad. And then the same scumbag president has the balls to come on and make fun of people who support the Second Amendment. We're not shooting bears in Kevlar vests, you dickhead. You know, I'm so freaking angry. And he says the conservatives are the ones who use violence for political means.
They always accuse the other side of what they're doing. They're accusing us of destroying rule of law. They destroyed rule of law under Obama.
2 years.
Obama did it. He turned it rule of man.
Ferguson, Missouri.
Yeah.
But again, and the country burned for 2 years under this guy. Talk about violating the rule of law. How about all the videos you still see? Almost every day on Fox News, there's video of people walking into a store and robbing it and walking out.
How about Antifa?
Every day.
Antifa showing out a small town in Texas where they had a kid-friendly drag event. Where the basically the mutants and the scum of our city
for children,
and they surrounded it. And okay, you can have guns in this country, and you can show up and you can protect something if you want.
Yeah.
How the hell did they get away in Texas with wearing masks?
I know.
I thought throughout the South, that's how we got rid of the Klan.
That's right.
So I'm thinking, what if the Klan showed up in their garb, like Antifa shows up in their garb, fully hooded and everything, standing there with AR-15s.
Right.
You think the police would have put up with that?
Please.
No. So what's the damn difference? I thought there was you can't do that in Georgia. You can't walk around with a mask on.
The only time you're allowed to, in fact, I confronted a woman in a complete hijab at Publix about a year ago. I mean, she had nothing but an eye slit. I mean, it wasn't a headscarf.
was a
It was
turret,
the whole
a
thing.
human turret.
She looked like a garbage bag with a slit in the eye hole. I'm serious. I mean, all you could see was her eye slits. Yeah. And I stopped, and she was with a guy walking behind. And I said, whoa, wait. I said, what the hell is this? I said, you're not supposed to walk around like this. It's illegal.
I think there's a religious exemption. There's
Yeah.
Halloween and the religious exemption,
well,
maybe.
Yeah, well,
But
I'm
you
not
can't
sure.
walk around like they
No,
did,
not-
unless
wearing
Texas
masks
doesn't have that law.
to
Which,
prevent their identity. If you're trying
Right.
to prevent your identity, you're breaking the law.
that's why, because you can't have secret societies showing up, terrorizing people
Yeah.
into not doing things.
Right.
Like the Klan, that's how
Right.
we got rid of them.
That's right. That's
For the
right.
most part.
That's why the hood thing became a thing.
Right.
Anyway, all right. A couple things. What a horrible story this. Well, not horrible. Well, it's sort of horrible. But I'm going to share it with you
lighten it up a
now.
little here.
I'm going to make sure I'm going to share the worst of the worst. In Mexico, Camilla Mendoza, 3-year-old girl,
Yes, sir.
was in, let's see, El Universal San Luis Potosi Hospital in Salinas del Hidalgo. I don't know where that is. In Mexico. Okay. 3-year-old girl was taken to the hospital and she was pronounced dead. Apparently from dehydration. She had had a fever and had stomach. She was in terrible shape. They went to the hospital and she was pronounced dead. She was given some drugs, released at one point, then taken back, and was officially pronounced dead. Okay. They then, turns out, let's see, she was, oh God, no, hold on a second.
Thank God this is rehearsal.
Oh, no, they had a funeral.
Yes, sir.
And at her funeral, it looked as though the parents saw her some sort of an oxygenization thing in the casket, and so they said she's still alive. They saw condensation in her daughter's glass casket cover, saying she was still breathing. The grandmother realized the young girl's eyes were moving. So they opened up the casket. Her heart was beating at 97 beats a minute. She was rushed back to the hospital where she was declared dead a second time, ladies and gentlemen. Her heart dropped to 35 beats per minute in the ambulance. By the time they got her back there, she was dead for sure. The family says, oh my God, I don't really hold it against them, but this really shouldn't have, they maybe should change the staff over there. They claimed they neglected her during the second visit, gave her too long to give her oxygen and so forth. But my God, they found her condensation from breathing in the glass casket.
Well, that's where was it?
The bell, ringing the bell of the.
Well, what's the phrase? that
Yeah,
people use?
to make sure you're dead, they
the
ring that
last
bell
bell.
3 times.
Yeah, they put the string in the
Yeah,
casket.
but
when
what's
you-
it called? Oh, it's a famous saying.
It is a famous thing.
Oh my God!
So Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's why they have a bell in the casket. If you hear
No,
the bell,
that was
you're
a
alive.
TV show in the 90s
Right.
that was very popular.
Right, but that's
okay?
where they got that phrase. Did you know that?
I thought it was because you didn't do your homework and they asked for it, and then the
See?
class ended. And
But that's actually
got
from
Saved by
having
the Bell.
bells in caskets.
Whoa.
Who'd have
Creepy.
thought?
You want to hear a creepy story?
Yeah, I do.
I was watching a History Channel the other day. It was one of those channels.
Yeah.
Remember, there was a Revolutionary War general named Anthony Wayne.
Yeah.
You've probably heard of him. He's from Pennsylvania, somewhere up there. Anthony Wayne was
Okay.
he was called the Mad General. I don't know why.
All righty.
So anyway, so he dies and he's buried Philly or somewhere like that. And the son says, "I want to bring my father's body back to the small town, which is a few miles away there in Pennsylvania." This is back in, I guess the early 1800s or something
Right.
like that. So it's all horse and buggy.
Yeah.
So he shows up with the doctor he treated his father, and they're going to dig up the bone. This is several years after he's
Years
dead.
after, okay.
Yeah. So they're going to dig it up, and just basically it's just going to be bones and a skull, and they're
Yeah.
going to take it back. And they had a box and a buggy.
Yeah.
And they open up the casket, and he's almost fully intact, like he had died just a few months before. And they had had several cold winters that they think had kept the body
No kidding.
in a good shape. So now he's thinking, I've only brought a small box and a two-wheel
How you gonna get him
buggy.
back?
How am I going to get him back? I can't put this whole body in there. And the doctor says, well, we're going to have to boil him. And the guy, oh, you're not. He goes, yeah. And
Boil
they brought
him?
we're gonna cut him up and boil the skin off the bones, and then you can take the bones back.
Oh,
and the
my
son's going,
God.
no, I can't do this.
No, we're not going to boil Dad. Come
And
on.
the doctor says, you can't
Boil
drag
your
it
own
back.
Dad. I was like,
So basically, while the son stands away, we can't see what's going on. The doctor brings this cauldron, which is in a museum. You can see the cauldron. And he cuts up this general
Oh, my.
and throws and boils the skin off.
oh my.
Can you imagine how bad that must have smelled? They
Oh.
take the bones out and they put it in the box, and he heads
And
home.
off they go.
So he's heading home, and he hits a rut. And it pops the box off the cart, and his bones go everywhere,
Oh,
right? He
God.
doesn't find all the bones there. And first of all, he's got to scoop it up quick for people to see it
Yeah.
because they'll think he's some grave robber or something.
Yeah.
So he puts it all in the box and goes home, doesn't get home with all the bones, right? And they say the general still goes up and down that road,
Oh, it
looking
goes
for his
tonight?
bones.
Oh my God.
and it was on the History Channel going, this is what a bizarre
I'll
story.
bet it's true.
That would be a story if you told that in history class. All the kids would be paying attention.
Yeah.
History can be interesting.
Yes, it can.
And then you could tell about the general and what he did.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I agree. They should, history. If they should make kids read the Pilgrims. I mean,
The Mayflower book.
The Mayflower.
Yeah,
I mean,
not just
simple-
memorize dates.
It's. I mean, you can't stop reading it. It was so interesting, and it was filled with the actual letters written in the 1600s. For God's sakes, that he quoted.
and not all the Indians were nice people.
No, it was they had, and they also had about 1,000 Indian tribes in New York State alone, by the way, too.
And Miles
Jesus.
Standish, which we only hear a little bit about. Did you ever
The
learn
story of
about
old
Miles
Miles.
Standish?
No.
He has no idea.
Yeah, something to do with
He was a hero in the 60s and 70s. You still learned about Miles Standish. He was like the soldier who protected the Pilgrims. He was there. He was a short little guy, but that Doug's worry. At one point, they were so sick of this Indian chief that was giving him trouble that they invited him over into one of the huts to have a dinner with him. And while he's having dinner, Miles Standish jumps up with a knife and just stabs him to death right there at the table. And I'm going,
He's a helper.
Miles Standish?
He's a helper.
How do you spell his name?
Miles
Standish.
Standish. Standish. That's amazing that they never
Yeah.
learned about that.
Yeah.
Because by then the
Well, we
Pilgrims
just
were
know
the
the name.
oppressors.
You've heard the name, but don't. Is that the same as
colonizers.
Sir Walter Raleigh? You know the name Sir Walter Raleigh, but tobacco and the cape and the mud and stuff. But yeah, we don't. Nobody studies that kind of stuff. Anyway, this is a bizarre story. I don't know whether you. We knew this was going to be happening. My little friend Gretchen found this. It used to be when people started talking about gay rights. It was first of all, it was gay rights. It was homosexual rights, gay and lesbian rights, gay rights, so forth. Then it was LGB, lesbian, gay, bi, LGB, and then LGBT, lesbian, gay, bi, tranny, and then LGBTQ, lesbian, gay, bi, tranny, queer, and then a plus and a bunch of other things. Okay, guess what?
What?
The LGB community is now dropping the T because gay activists are turning on the trannies.
Yeah. Did you see the parade?
Well, it was. Here's how the article goes. Hold that thought. It was always unsustainable. The only I'm like holding it there. The only question was how long the LGBT political movement would bask in the glory of its inarguably successful obliteration of traditional societal norms and sexual mores before they took time to notice. But with the LGBT drop the T trending on Twitter, it seems apparent that in certain quarters, the revolutionaries are doing what revolutionaries always do, turn on each other. Yep. Example, the T, tranny, hitched a ride a few years back, one guy writes, invited itself for dinner and is trying to make out like it always lived there. It didn't. Pride marches, protests, and LGB rights happen without the T, you trannies. I remember I was there. I also remember the T wasn't. I mean, and it's getting vicious now, too, where the gays are saying, you trannies are not freaking gay.
Well, the problem, I think it was
Or
in
not
England.
the same as
They
gay.
had a pride march in England, and the trannies were mad at the lesbians and were yelling at them because the lesbians were saying, "I don't think you belong here in
Right.
this
Yeah.
march." So, but the trannies were getting like vicious and violent, and nasty. The police showed up and made the lesbians leave the pride march so the trannies could march.
Oh, my God. Because they're afraid. They're woke.
Well, yeah, they're not as afraid of lesbians now as they are the trannies.
How is it possible that you're afraid of misgendering somebody as opposed to doing the? I mean, I know, but again, remember, God forbid you should, remember all these gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Remember the whole Seinfeld thing, but everybody said not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't want to be, gay. Fine, I don't get it. I mean, well, everybody did it. I mean, no, but now they're afraid to even talk about trannies. I guess. I don't know. This whole thing just makes me
I think
sick.
it's starting to turn, and I think that and there's a lot of gays who don't find this kid-friendly drag stuff.
Oh no,
a good thing.
It's offensive. Yeah, because for one thing, it makes it seem as though a gay man is thereby clearly a child molester. And so it's the gay men who want to have a little boy allowed to, the boy men thing. I don't know. It's just the whole thing is creepy. But here's the point they're making, and I think you have to accept it as legitimate. The inevitable clash between gay and transgender. Transgenderism relies entirely upon the non-existence of a gender binary. The non-existence of a gender, right. Assuming a sliding scale of gender identity that denies or even such a thing as truly male or truly female. Needless to say, there can be no gay man if there is no such thing as a man.
Well, the whole thing, I think that a lot of gays are starting to look at the fact that if you take a child that's like a girl but likes other girls, and you say, okay, well then you must be a boy, and you chop her
right.
breasts off and put a penis on her. Well, they're not gay then. They're
right.
trans.
Yeah.
Basically, the trans movement, if taken to a conclusion of the majority,
right.
will eradicate gay people.
Yeah.
Because you're taking these young people that would grow up to be gay and making them the opposite sex.
Yeah. Again, even to be talking, the whole thing is preposterous. I mean, could you have imagined this conversation 3 or 4 years, let alone 20 years ago? Imagine our parents talking about this at the dinner table. Well, I don't think 9-year-olds ought to be able to cut off their penis. Do you, Bobby? Oh my God.
I remember an awkward conversation I had with my dad when I was like 14 or 15, and we're driving in the car, and something came on the radio about homosexuals or something like that. And Dad just out of the blue goes, and he was trying to, couch it in the best possible terms. He said, I just don't know that how another man could take a blah, 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 blah. And I knew where he was going, and I said, you don't have to worry about me. I found my uncle's penthouses. Everyth's fine.
But even having the conversation, I remember very clearly one time our little prep school group, boys and girls we were probably 16 at the time, or whatever, maybe 15 or 16, and for some reason we met at. I guess it was one of my friends whose father was a minister, and I had a crush on his sister, my friend's sister, and went out there once. Anyway, so we had a meeting, and parents were all in favor of it, to have all the kids get together to talk about premarital sex and the dangers of premarital sex. And this is back when nobody was really having premarital sex in our group, at least in our prep school group, or even in the high school, I think, really, back in the early 60s, 61, 2, whatever in there.
Well, occasional train was
a little something, But again, nobody was really doing it. But the parents said, it's good to go learn about this kind of. So we, Okay, so we show up, and I'll never forget. As soon as he said something like, and we were always with all the whole crowd sitting there, boys and girls together, sitting there, and said, well, of course, once a month that the girls have an opening at the bottom of their body, and I'm going, oh, Jesus, God, and we all just started cringing, and it was over. I mean, and after at that second, we're going, we're all going like this, and so there was no, I mean, it was, but again, just even talking about the fact that there were girls in the area, you couldn't even, I mean, God forbid you said the word menstruation or whatever. I mean, God. Anyway, that didn't last long. But how times have changed. I mean, it must be something to it. I want to do a quick Leo thing here. Leo, again, I go on just for kicks to try to show that I'm, a modern guy. I've actually used my credit card now. In fact, when I bought the golf balls for Flounder and me yesterday, I used my Visa card in the golf ball machine.
All right, real quick. Whatever you do, don't use your debit card.
Oh, why? Do they steal that?
You don't want to use your debit card. You always want to use a credit card.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to use your debit card because let's say someone does.
Someone does.
Someone does.
Well, if they take your debit card, they take your money.
Yeah.
Credit card is
It comes
credit.
directly out. Yeah.
So-
They give it back.
Yeah, but it takes 2 to 3 weeks. Credit cards, it's within.
yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point.
So you don't
Debit
ever
card
wanna-
comes right
Did
out.
you film him actually doing this?
No, I
No,
got there
no,
before
yeah,
you did. I
he
already
got
did
there
it.
about half an hour before I
You
did.
don't
So.
know if this is true or not.
I'm always early.
He's
I
yeah.
never get there
No,
late.
not whether it's true that he actually used.
Oh
the
no, I
card.
did. I believe me, I wouldn't say it.
You
if
pretty
it
much
were-
have to because it's everything's self-serve.
Yeah, it's otherwise it's singles and I mean it's a nightmare. I don't have any idea why I was talking about that. Anyway, I was mentioning I go on just to show I'm a modern person. I go on Twitter to see what's going on Twitter. Once a day, I go on my Twitter thing to see what the headlines are, and people were talking about Leo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
And so, and I said, well, I wonder what he's done.
Time's
so,
up.
you know, so time to be popular again or something. So, I looked up.
Trade in for the new model.
I it's incredible. I looked up Leo DiCaprio, see what they're talking about, and the headline is Leonardo DiCaprio has split from girlfriend Camilla Moroni, according to @People magazine. And here is and she's a beautiful young girl. Here's the reaction. There's no phenomenon on this planet more reliable than Leonardo DiCaprio breaking up with his girl by age 25. The stats are breathtaking. She just turned 25 in June. Womp womp. Off she goes. Maybe Leonardo DiCaprio hated 9/11 so much that he can't even date women who remember it. Did that ever occur to you? Bob wrote in, white smoke has emerged from the chimney atop North Hollywood High School, signaling that Leonardo DiCaprio has chosen a new girlfriend. Aaron, 3 things are certain in life: death, taxes, Leonardo DiCaprio breaking up with his girlfriend before her prefrontal cortex has fully developed. Charlotte, December 19th will mark the 25th anniversary of Titanic being released in U.S. theaters, which means it still has almost 4 months of eligibility left to go on a date with Leonardo DiCaprio. Not Leonardo DiCaprio once again breaking up with his girlfriend once they turned 25. Oh, I can't believe it. And after their brain fully developed. And there's one meme after another of video or photo memes, which are just hysterical. But he when they hit 25, it's over. I mean, didn't Donald Trump with Marla Maples, didn't he have like a 5-year prenup that said after one day after 5 years of marriage, up until 5 years of marriage, she gets $1 million a year or whatever. After 5 years of marriage, she gets it all or something. The day before their 5th wedding anniversary, he filed divorce papers or something like that. Something, as I recall.
You think this is Leo just trying to keep hold of his youth?
I can't
as
be.
long as he
I don't
can.
understand. I mean, what is he? 47 or something now, or some
I don't
ridiculous thing like that. But I assume. I wonder whether they get tired. Maybe he just won't marry him, and they're saying, "Well, look, we can't be going on like this." I mean, I don't know. Maybe they make it so that if you don't marry me, it's over, and so he breaks up with them
You know why he's doing it though?
for the women.
Because he can.
Yeah, for the women.
There'll be another one waiting right there.
Well, in fact, Flounder, let me ask you this. Actually, remind me to ask you this. I'm going to put an arrow on my piece of paper. Oh, I actually reminded myself. 2 quick memes. One of them from, I think Brandon sent me this one, and it's a picture of a beautiful blonde, a young, like 20-year-old beautiful blonde girl.
Looks familiar.
Yeah, she looks familiar. I think I know her. And her meme is a beautiful blonde girl with kind of a sorrowful look on her face, and she says, "There's about to be a shortage of strippers now that they don't have to pay off their education loans." Because as you know, every stripper, mostly with law students, weren't they?
That's right.
All the
They did
ones
it.
I used to see were all law students. I'm fairly sure. And that was Brandon sent me that, and Barry sent me that. This is pretty cute too. It's a meme picture of a father and his college-age daughter, a high school-age daughter, and the father is over the daughter's shoulder, and she's looking at the college catalog, and the daughter is saying to Daddy, looking over the college catalog, she says, "Dad, I've decided to major in philosophy." And Dad says, "Oh, that's good, honey, because they just opened that huge philosophy factory in town."
We did that about a year.
You did that one?
We did that about a year ago.
Well, I did it on Rainy Day Theater 2 years ago. How about that? Yeah, thank you. Anyway, I was going to ask Flounder this question here. You're a millennial. I saw on the news.
I am not a millennial, damn it.
Gen X.
I'm Gen X.
Oh, that's right,
I was
too.
born in 78.
No, so millennials are younger than you or just older than you? Yeah, a little younger. Okay.
Right?
No,
Well, you
millennials are younger than me.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why we just.
yeah. I thought you
Right,
said
I
older.
think so. Younger, older, what's the difference?
Millennial generation is 81
Anyway, I couldn't. I don't know. I couldn't relate to this because it blew my mind. But there was a survey that showed an entire third of millennials would break up with their boyfriend, girlfriend for eating in bed,
That's not cool, eating in bed. I don't like eating in bed.
and they just would
I
not.
mean, it's one
be
thing
able to
if you
take it.
bring your girl breakfast in bed or something
No,
like that.
I think they
but-
mean when they go to bed, they bring potato chips with them, or
no,
and
no,
they're having
no,
a
no,
sandwich
no, no.
while you're
Ain't
watching
happening.
TV.
No,
in
the bed
or-
is not a place where you eat.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
And I.
Well, I mean,
Well,
not
no,
go
it led
too
to
far.
it led to a whole bunch of other answers to the if this was a survey. But I got that survey. Okay, I promise you, if there is ever again, if there's a girl in my bed, she can do anything she wants.
In there with the Doritos, popcorn.
It's like the guy, I forgot who the comedian was. Oh, it was the guy who said you have to back out of your driveway doing 65 miles an hour because he built a house on the interstate.
Stephen Wright.
Stephen Wright. And I think he was the one who, it may not be true, but I think he was the one who said, was that your food?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
good. We'll ask you what you got and how it is. And he said he was, his dental hygienist was a doll, just a beautiful young hot chick flirting with her. So he says right before he used to go to the dental hygienist, he'd eat a whole bag of Oreos.
So I'd be there
I'd
forever.
be there for 2 days cleaning his teeth. That's pretty clever.
That is pretty clever.
That's pretty clever. Anyway, all right, now.
What?
While we're waiting for Flounder's food, I want to remind our folks about one of our many Kimmer sponsors. And again, thekimmershow.net is how you can get a hold of us, listen to the radio segments and all that other stuff, send us a check at addresses. We even have a phone number if you want to leave us a message. We'll play it. Well, we don't really use it. We've never used it, but you could be the first one. Anyway, among our sponsors are good friends at what I think is a very creative company, especially given what's going on with the sales and so forth. SwapMyWhip.com. Whip is is a colloquial phrase for ride. SwapMyWhip.com. You're driving along and you see a car. Oh man, I've always wanted one of those so and so's. And then you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to check out this SwapMyWhip.com because you never know. You may find a guy who's got a car that you've always wanted, who wants a car just like yours, or he knows a guy who doesn't know a guy who wants a car like yours, and you do it bing bangity boongity bam. No middleman, no sales teams, no car dealerships, nothing to worry about. All kinds of stuff that if you see what you like, you make your deal. Boom, bam, pow. SwapMyWhip.com. And it's not just cars. It goes for boats, jet skis, ATV, off-road things, stuff like that. SwapMyWhip.com. And we have a promo code KIMMER, KIMMER, which would give you 180 days of free premium listings on SwapMyWhip.com. Check it out. It's really pretty cool. And you may be exactly what you're looking for, and you don't have to worry about all the middlemen. SwapMyWhip.com. Now, a couple things. Some sad. This is really kind of a sad story, but I want to send our best wishes to a canine police officer dog from Lithonia Police Department named Perro, 12-year-old Belgian Malinois, who apparently got out of his owner's backyard. There was a board missing from his fence, and the dog got out, and apparently in the afternoon, on Sunday afternoon, and was later discovered shot to death someplace else. And they don't know, nobody called about a gunshot or a dog shot or a wild, maybe they thought he was, I don't know, a police dog, but anyway, what a sad story. 12 years old. So clearly near the end, I mean, I assume he's probably retired, although it didn't say retired. But anyway, 12 years old, Belgian Malinois. What a shame. And we just feel terrible about it. Hope they get the guy who did it and find out what the hell's going on here, because that's a police officer. They shot a cop. The same with a police horse, by the way. If you punch a police horse, you punched a cop. They are badged officers of the law. Also, our condolences to Hercules. a Percheron thoroughbred cross, big white horse. Hercules was a monster horse for the mounted patrol of the Atlanta Police Department. And he had to be 19 hands. I mean, there's a picture of him in the Al Jazeera Constitution. He's enormous. And he passed away. He had needed surgery, emergency surgery, and he was about 18 years old and had been with the department for 16 years. Huge, big white Percheron horse. They go to 100 events a year. Anyway, he passed away. Our condolences.
What's for supper, Grandpa? What
Yeah,
you
I
got
can smell
there?
it. What you got there?
What I have?
Chicken and rice there?
That's right. Teriyaki chicken and rice.
Oh.
Teriyaki?
Teriyaki chicken and rice.
And where did we get this today?
The teriyaki and chicken rice store.
All right, then, whatever.
That's
We
a
can
long
keep it
name,
private.
but you know, it works.
Now, is this just like you call the food people and say, send me food?
No, so this is, I did a quick Uber Eats. So it's like called Yummy Steakhouse or something like that on Sandy Springs.
I got you. And can I ask how much? Is that like one full meal? Is that?
Yeah, that's one full meal that was
Chicken and
$13.
How many?
$13.
$13. Again, that's
And
a
with
lot.
tip? You got a tip, too. That's more
So
than
let's
that.
say you're talking about
So
a $20 lunch. here.
Again, I did this because I got right back here and you guys were here and
I
I didn't have
gotcha.
time to make my lunch. So
But you are trying to cut down on the.
I
ordering.
haven't. I don't do this as much, but every
You
now
know
and
they
then it is
have
convenient.
These things called grocery
Yeah.
stores.
Now, have you? But
And
if
you have a
noticed price-
refrigerator.
Oh, I mean, I have plenty of food, but when I left
You didn't
work,
have
I
time.
went to work out, and then I came here, and I had about 15 minutes,
Yeah.
and I had to set this stuff up. And
Now, have you
other
noticed prices for the food and prices for delivery going up, or both, or either, or neither, or what?
both
Have you
are.
know-
I mean, both
Does it
are
cost
up.
more for them to? In other words, is there a guarantee? I assume they charge a delivery fee. Of
Yeah, it
some
was like
kind.
$2, $3.
Okay. Now, has that gone up? Do you know, or would you?
Yeah,
even
it's
know?
up to like normally it's 2. Right now, it can be anywhere from 3 to 4.
Yeah.
Depending
Well,
on the hour. Like now, it's
yeah.
not too bad, but if I was to do this in the evening time, it'll go up.
Now, how's the service? Is it longer? Takes longer? Do they have drivers?
For
or, you know-
lunchtime, it didn't take that long.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm just kind of
I got a
checking.
question for you.
Yeah, all right.
You got HBO, right?
I do.
How was the Game of Thrones show that started? Did you watch it?
Actually, I've got them all. I haven't watched one yet. I've got them all on DVD.
Well, you need to watch it.
Well,
Monday. Yeah, we don't need
we
to
can talk
report
about,
on Monday.
You won't spoil it for me. I don't care. I like to watch
I've never
it for.
seen it. I don't have HBO.
Okay. Well, I will definitely watch over the weekend.
Yeah, you
I'll
don't
get
have to
time.
give away plot points, but just say whether it's
Right.
good or
I,
not.
I agree. I totally agree. And in fact, you know what it is? My life, again, this is not my life. I don't know whose life I'm living. I used to have a great life. I was living my life. All of a sudden it's gone. Somebody took it. I'm living somebody else's life. I'd like mine back now. But anyway, so for some reason, if I get some free time, I'll sit down in my easy chair and my ottoman and the big TV's in front of me. And I just didn't feel like starting a new series. I just said, ugh, I just don't feel it. You know what I mean? I just couldn't start the effort of getting into a whole new thing again. I'm not sure why. It might have been just because we got done with Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad and whatever. So, but I definitely will that.
I just started the season that Resident Alien season 3.
Oh yeah.
That's
in
the
fact,
funniest
I've still
damn
got
show.
2 of those. I've got 2 of those still. I haven't been. I don't know what's up with me. I don't have the same free time, and today's going to be a nightmare. I'm going to leave here and go home and do something. I got to get to the store, got to get to the stable, got to fight the traffic for the freaking concert. I mean, it's going to be a nightmare. I'll have dinner at 9:00 tonight. I mean, it's just, I don't know what's going on, and it shouldn't. I don't know.
Sometimes you want to watch a game, or sometimes you want to watch
Yeah.
a show. I'm
And
feel
I
that
watched
same way.
the Braves the other night. I was watching. I had some great baseball stuff. Anyway,
Acuna's back tonight, which is good.
Oh,
I
he
don't know
is?
why they don't just put him on
Bad
the 10-day
knee.
DL.
Yeah.
Let him get
rest it up.
right, and Ozzy will be back soon, and have them back together for the stretch run. But
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, whatever. Let me ask you. This is a bizarre question. I'm kind of going over on time here, I think. I saw this article about an indigenous protection agency effort in Brazil, in the Brazilian Amazon rainforest. Apparently, it's the first recorded disappearance of a tribe in the history of Brazil. They're all gone. They found the last guy of this tribe lying in his hammock, dead. His name is a mystery. They called him the Man of the Hole because after dozens of holes he had dug over the years in his territory, they say he looked to be about 60-ish. There have been protection. There's an agency to protect indigenous tribes in Brazil in the Amazon jungle, where people have never been. or never documented. To try to keep it from, again, being taken over by loggers and so forth. The state of Rondônia bordering Bolivia. The result, probably natural causes, but they brought in experts. Uncontacted tribes are groups that live without sustained contact with the outside world in any way. This is the first recorded disappearance of an uncontacted tribe. Others have most likely gone extinct with no one ever knowing it. They've evidence of at least 114 isolated tribes in Brazil, but only 28 can be actually confirmed.
The last of his kind.
The last of his people.
And how
dead.
sad is that you've outlived everybody?
Now, do you think, is there a heaven and hell for guys who have never
There-
had any kind of
I
organized
asked a priest-
religion?
I asked a priest this, and he gave me a thing saying, okay, if they're never...
What
if
about
they're
the
never
st-
shown Jesus, if
Yeah.
they're not, if they never, aren't even aware,
So they should
there's
have a
something
chance,
else
right?
that goes on that they have a chance
Purgatory, maybe, is that-
afterlife to learn about.
But
or
what
make
about
a
the
choice
Stone
or
Age?
something.
I mean, guys who lived in caves and
There's-
died when they were 9. You know,
There's-
I mean,
well, that's supposedly that everybody that was lived before Jesus, when Jesus died, and during that 3 days, he supposedly went down to hell and brought Adam out and brought all those people out who wanted to come out.
yeah, but what about, I mean, well,
That at that point knew about
yeah,
it.
but how would they even know? God, people died in the Stone Age, you know.
But you would know because in the afterlife, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, another mystery, and I mean, I keep thinking about things like this as the older I get, obviously, and about whether there in fact is a miracle revelation when you die. It all becomes clear.
Here's a scary thing I saw the other day that scientists now think that your brain could live
Yeah.
for, we're talking minutes, maybe
Yeah.
an hour or two after you're dead.
Yeah.
And you're, what of the horror of that you're still aware
Yeah.
in your body, but you can't move. Oh God!
Well,
How
there's
about if you're putting the damn
Iron lung.
where they burn you?
oh yeah,
And
you're
Cremate
still-
your ass and you're
conscience.
yeah, that would hurt.
Conscious.
That would be not good there.
Sorry to break in here.
Yeah.
While I was eating, you know how you guys asked me about my food and I
Yeah.
showed them my food?
Yeah.
I accidentally left the camera on, so they've been watching me eat for the past
Oh,
3 minutes.
Yeah, Scooter
Sorry,
says.
folks.
Scooter says, "Get out of the shot."
Well, there goes the podcast.
Okay, here we
What
go.
kind of porn are you guys showing over
Let's
there?
read it here. Okay. Oh, look, the Flounder Show. Get out of the shot. Where's
Oh,
ours?
no.
Switch the camera.
Oh,
Flounder's
sorry,
food getting cold. The Flounder eating podcast.
Oh, sorry, boys and girls. That's not good.
There's an island off India that's illegal for anyone to go to because it's one of those tribes that literally, when the helicopters go over, they shoot with bows and arrows up at
yeah,
it.
I've heard that.
There was a plane or something crashed there, and they wouldn't let anybody go in to get the bodies, so the bodies were never recovered.
Yeah.
And this stupid white boy missionary came up on a boat, and they killed him on the beach, and they buried him on the beach.
Yeah. Well, see, leave these people alone sometimes. You know what I mean? There's a Democrats. A couple of things in the news here. And 1963, the Ronettes first hit the U.S. singles chart with "Be My Baby," the girl group's only top 10 hit. That's amazing to me. Their lead singer was Veronica Bennett, who would marry and later sue ex-husband Phil Spector 35 years later, known as Ronnie Spector, for cheating her out of her royalties. And she just died not long ago. We talked about her. 1968, Decca Records released the Rolling Stones' most political song, "Street Fighting Man," written after Mick Jagger went to an anti-war rally in London. It was at the U.S. Embassy, where a crowd of 25,000 jostled with mounted police. The single record did not make the top 40 list because too many radio stations refused to play it as too subversive.
Well, it's it's one of my favorite Stone songs. But he went there, and people started paying attention to him and not the protest.
Yeah.
And he wrote the whole song saying, "Well, what's a boy to do?"
Yeah.
Because you can't go to a protest when you're that famous.
Yeah. Don't pay attention to me. And I've totally forgotten the lyrics to it, but at the time in 1968, it was.
What's a boy to do in sleepy London town? It's basically killed the king and all this. He didn't say queen. He said killed the king.
Yeah. 2004, the British medical magazine Thorax ran an article warning music fans about turning into the Kimmer with hearing issues. Yes? Listening to really, really, really loud music in your car can cause your lung to collapse.
What?
The sound vibrations can actually cause your lung to. It happened to a 19-year-old kid whose 1,000-watt boom box had the bass shaking his entire Fiat.
Maybe a limey.
A limey. 1994, pervert and sex freak R. Kelly secretly married Aaliyah. It was illegal, of course, and her parents had it annulled as soon as they found out about it because he was 27 and she was 15. Thank you. A couple of birthdays. Van Morrison is either 71 or 77. It went either way. Probably 77. Richard Gere made it to 73. I wonder if that gerbil story is true. Debbie Gibson, who's now Deborah Gibson. Debbie Gibson, 52 today. I used to like her. Only in my dreams. And what was the other one? She had another one, too. Chris Tucker. What you talking about, Willis? No, that's the other guy. Chris Tucker's 51. He was the one, don't touch a black man's music or whatever.
He's the one with the Jackie Chan movies.
Jackie Chan movies, yeah. Edwin Moses, the Olympic track star, 68 today. And Patty Padraig Harrington, 52, the champion golfer. A couple of history notes. 1997, this was the day Princess Di and Dodi Fayed were murdered by Prince Charles in Paris, along with their drunk driver. I remember being on the beach and having a big fight. In fact, oh my God, we were on the beach with my final wife and my son, the barman, and we're on her sister's condo on the beach at Fort Walton, way down South Beach, from Florida. And I went into town to get the paper. I think it was a Sunday morning, if I'm not mistaken. Got the paper, and I got the paper, and it said "Princess Di dead" or whatever it was. And I went racing back to the house, and everybody talked about that for the whole day until we got into a fight where she made some nasty comment about me. Well, if you'd have stuck up for yourself at work, wouldn't da. I said, well, now let me tell you what really happened. And this was at the table having breakfast with her entire family. And it was about 20 minutes later, we packed up and drove home, cutting short our vacation because she wanted to do was fight all the time, and I don't take fights. I end fights. I don't allow them. Sorry. Anyway, pick a fight with me, there's going to be a problem.
What did that have to do with Princess Di? How did you manage to put the Princess Di?
I remember Princess Di dying because that was basically the beginning of the end of my marriage, too.
You brought that full circle. Unbelievable.
Well, how could you not remember?
Cindy, he just set the record.
Hey, Cindy. Well, it's kind of hard to forget when your marriage begins to crumble after. Anyway. Okay. In the year 1888, Mary Ann Nichols is found in the West End of London, murdered and mutilated. She was Jack the Ripper's first victim. He got 10 other prostitutes and was never caught. They believe never caught.
He may have he was royalty, or he moved to America and was doing it here in New York.
Yeah.
But I tell you, if you ever go to London, take the tour. It's
Jack the Ripper tour.
And do
really?
it drunk. Because they go to pubs, so drink heavily,
and
it's funnier than hell.
Really?
We laugh the entire time.
Is it a bus tour or?
They put you on buses and take you around Whitechapel and everything. It is the bar he hung out in is still there. I forget. I forget the name of it. It's the White Stallion or something. It's still there.
I'll be damned. That's cool. 1992, Naples, Idaho. Randy Weaver agrees to surrender 11 days after hundreds of federal agents surrounded his property and killed his wife and son. Nazis. The standoff left a U.S. Marshal dead as well. Weaver was arrested but found innocent because it was all self-defense. They did get him for 18 months for having the original charge of owning some guns. But they'd showed up and just surrounded a place with hundreds of agents for almost 2 weeks. Jim Comey, Andy McCabe, Chrissy Poo Ray, all those guys are tingly right now thinking about how they wish they had another chance to kill more Americans who believe in the Second Amendment. 1887, the first kinetoscope was patented by Thomas Edison. No. He used it to document his torture of baby seals and used the sound for his bedtime music. That's pretty special. 1920. John Lloyd Wright is issued a patent number 1,351,886 for toy cabin construction. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Lincoln Logs.
Which now is something else altogether.
Did you ever have Lincoln Logs?
Oh, yeah, we had Lincoln Logs.
Flounder, did you have Lincoln Logs too?
Oh, hell yeah.
I guess they're still probably
We
around.
built them and then burn it down because it was wood. You know, so you-
Or set off cherry bombs inside them.
Yep.
Put a cherry bomb in a Lincoln Log cabin or something out in the backyard. That was fun as hell.
And that was before we had slow motion camera phones where you
Yeah,
could
well,
film
that's
it.
Yeah, now it's a whole different story. Of course, I was back with the Rector sets. And was there a Mr. Wizard chemistry set? I think I had one of those.
I didn't have an erector set.
I had erector sets. Oh my God, and that could drive you nuts. The little teeny little nuts,
didn't
and
like that.
jeez. 1981. This was really bizarre. Remember, as a broadcaster, you get a kick out of this, and you probably know this. 1981. The TV contract that made history between Milton Berle and NBC finally expired. Milton Berle had signed a contract 30 years earlier, a 30-year contract in 1951 at the beginning of television. And no one had ever heard of such a thing. He signed a 30-year deal in 1951 when TV was just, and he said, hey, I'm going to get in on this. And it worked. Let's see, 1950. Here, one of my favorite players, old first baseman Gil Hodges. I think I may have showed you this, but Gil Hodges first baseman's mitt when I was playing first base as a youngster, and I gave it to Brady, my grandson, just to show what a mitt from the early 1970 was, whatever. Let's see. Gil Hodges of the Brooklyn Dodgers hit 4 home runs in one game on this day in 1950. 4 home runs in one game off 4 different pitchers. Talk about how like
each time Carl Furillo was on base.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is that right? Carl Furillo. Oh my God! I used to be able to, I used to be named Junior Gilliam, and of course Jackie Robinson, and all those guys back then. Duke Snyder, Roy Campanella. I mean, it's just some great players. 1959, Sandy Koufax of the now L.A. Dodgers. Again, in 1950, it was Gil Hodges of the Brooklyn Dodgers. 1959, Sandy Koufax of the L.A. Dodgers sets a National League record, striking out 18 batters in one game, which is pretty cool.
Dizzy Dean's record.
Dizzy Dean.
Dizzy Dean.
He slid into third.
I got something that'll help you out
All right.
all the time with your
Please
flat
do.
tires.
Yeah, oh God.
I saw this on Facebook and I looked it up and it seems to be real. It's called Air Moto. Have you seen this?
Is that the thing where you squirt something in and it
No,
patches
it's
almost
basically
anything?
it looks like it's very small. It's about the length of your forearm, mainly, if not.
Is it a patch?
And no, it basically it's a portable air pump. And if you have a little air leaking, it'll take about 4 to 5 minutes to do up a car tire. If it's completely flat, it'll take about 15 to 20 minutes. But it sure beats trying to find a place.
Huh.
And if you have a bicycle, it'll do it almost instantly. But it works. That's sure. They sell it at Amazon and other things. It's like $69.
So it's a little pump? Is that what you're
Called
saying?
Air Moto original portable air pump. You can get them cheaper. 120 psi air compressor. Does cars, trucks, and everything, and it seems legit.
I'll be damned.
So there you might want to look
Well.
into that because you have that trouble all the time with that.
And in fact, I recall you had that trouble not too long ago.
That's why we're not here Friday because it's take the car in for its all-day
oh, you're
visit.
finding it. Oh, God.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Well, if you need a ride, let me know.
Well, they're gonna take me there. Or actually, I take it there, and then they'll take me home, then come and pick me up later.
There you
So,
go.
anyway.
There you go.
Okay. Pirates wear patches. Why?
To identify their unit and their name and their...
No, eye patches.
Oh, eye patch. Oh, pirates wear eye patch because they're blind in one eye.
How about you, Flounder? You have any idea what?
Cataract?
Cataracts? That's a good one. It's not because they're missing an eye or they're blind.
No.
It's because it's dark on the lower parts of the ship. And during a fight or whatever, they'd have to run down into to get either help or fight or escape or get something, more ammunition or something. And they would keep that patch. They'd take the patch off and they could see in the dark and the other guy couldn't.
Yeah, what about the other eye, though? If you can't see it,
Well, one eye seeing in the dark, one eye seeing in the light.
All right. I'll accept that as
believe that?
mostly bullshit. It could be true. It could be true. I mean, think about back in the pirate days. My God,
Yeah, they were fighting. Yeah, that's true.
you know why Marines are called leathernecks? Because they put leather straps around their necks on the ships so they didn't get sword fight and had the neck cut off. They had leather straps on their necks, and that's why they called Marines leathernecks.
Oh, Blackbeard
and the reason
coulda
they
used
have
that.
the reason they have the fleur de lis on top of their of their covers of their hats is so in the riggings you can see who the good guys are from above. So you're not
Why a
shooting down.
fleur
at the-
de lis?
Well, it's a French thing.
I know. Why?
Well, but
You
the
see
Marine
who's
Corps was
surrendering?
the Marine Corps was founded in a bar, Tun Tavern in Philadelphia. The Marine Corps was founded in a bar, a tavern. So
A tiger's fur is striped, but so is its skin. If you shave the
right,
tiger.
that's true. I think aren't zebras born all white or black or
Something like
something?
that.
I forgot.
Each pattern on a tiger is different. If you want to test headphones,
Yeah.
play Bohemian Rhapsody, because they hit every note in that song.
Well, there's only 7 notes. What song doesn't hit all notes? Huh? I mean, what? Is that a thing? Now wait. This may be. Is this a thing? Are you telling me that most songs only play a few of the? There's 7. Do, re,
Right,
mi,
but-
fa, sol, la, ti, do, 1, 2, 3, 4,
But
5,
you're
6,
playing.
7, right?
I mean, can you play notes in different keys?
Maybe octaves? Or...
Well, I don't think I understand that concept.
I don't either. I'm sorry I brought it up.
Well, no, I think we need to get to the bottom. This is pretty interesting. Are you telling me that that songs only have a few of the 7? Are there 7? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. It's 8.
Yeah, there's 8.
Oh, but there's 2 do's. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So there's 7 notes, and they say do twice.
Mine goes to 11, but
But
you got 8.
well, 11 is much higher. You know, if you go to 10, you know, it's only 10. But if you go to 11, it's so much higher. The movie from?
Spinal Tap.
There you go.
The crazies are still out there. By the way, the CDC has just basically said that everybody that had the conspiracy theory and didn't get the jab was correct.
Yeah.
But now they've also agreed to say that if you get all the other ones we've done so far,
All of them,
now you're eligible to get the boosters for the new 2 variants.
Well,
that
you
we've
got
come
the
up with.
new
Yeah,
monkey
didn't
pox.
they come out and just say that Pfizer and the other one were just approved for the updated
Yeah,
booster?
they just over 18.
Yeah.
And they're,
But you got to get all the other ones before
this
that.
goes. Whoosh. I tune out entirely. I don't trust them, believe them, admire them.
Fauci's
respect
legacy,
them.
according to the Wall Street Journal, said Fauci's legacy will be that hardly anyone will believe a government scientist again.
Right. The CDC is a joke, just like the FBI. I know
And they
the-
pretty much
I
said,
know
they
the
came
3
right out and said the
Yeah.
vax, people who didn't get the vax were right.
I got 1 shot and nothing else, and you got nothing.
Nothing. I got nothing. You get a sucker for it. So the nuts are still out there. Here's 2 women in New York City. Imagine being the child of this lady. One of my kids is begging to return to in-person school, and I am nearing surrender. I am so tired of living like this. I guess I am willing to die so he can get an education. It's all about her, not the
Jeez,
kid.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't have any other options. Nothing is ever going to change. I hate this country.
God, good. Then make your decision and do the right thing.
Gets worse. This other woman. My kids go and they are old enough I just isolate from them. Have my own bathroom and cooking area. They are old enough to make their own meals. I mask in the house and only go out in the main area an hour or 2 after they leave or during the summer before they are up.
Well, you know, there's no test to be a parent.
They shouldn't be parents.
Yeah.
They're not. That's not a parent.
You know how
right
many
there.
people would love to have a child and can't have one?
And these buckets right now are putting kids out.
Just regular happy people who just want to have a child in the house.
Samantha likes to walk around Rehoboth Beach. You know where that is?
New Jersey, right?
Nope.
No.
I was about to say the same thing as a Hoboken.
Delaware, Rehoboth.
Oh, where President showers with daughter territory. Yeah.
There's a woman
Which he
there.
goes to every weekend for vacation.
Well, he leaves on Friday morning and comes back Monday afternoon. So it's like 4-day weekend every week.
Yeah. This woman has got a pair of sandals that has Trump on the bottom.
Yeah.
And she walks up and down the beach, Trump, 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 all along in the sand.
Oh, so the word is
The word
imprinted.
Trump is
so it's like
imprinted
an I thought you meant you had the word written on, but it was just it's like an imprint in the.
You can get them online
funny.
and just walk around everywhere with them on. In Utah, a Utah FBI employee has been charged with sexually abusing multiple children with whom he had had a position of special trust.
Yeah, I saw that.
Once again,
God.
there's your
Shoot him in the eye.
your FBI. All right, it's time for
Oh.
Bad Text Theater.
Da 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 da.
All right, what are we
Karen,
doing? All right, we just did the. Yeah. All right, are you Karen or are you?
I'll be Karen. You can have the
All
punchline.
right.
You're an alcoholic.
Nope. Alcoholics need a drink, and I already have one.
Thank you. All right, boy. Oh, I've already put this away with the thing before I did the thing on my thing, man. It's just I'm totally. I got to know what I'm doing.
We're not here Friday.
No, we're not here Friday. But luckily, Founder and I will be hitting balls again tomorrow. We're gonna have a little.
It may be Tuesday because I may have to watch the niece and nephew.
Okay, well, just let me know.
Yeah, but
although if you want to do, I don't know how early you're available, but from the radio station.
This is all something
Anyway.
you could do.
Oh, we
off
can do
the
off
air.
the air.
What I was trying to say is that we will be back Monday for
Monday.
Memorial Day.
But
Maybe
we will-
early, but
no,
we'll
Labor
do
Day.
it.
Labor Day, not Memorial Day.
Oh, it's the same.
Same thing. Labor, Memorial.
It's the same thing.
Laboring
so we
on
won't
my
be here
Memorial.
Friday. We
Yeah,
will be here
Monday.
Yeah. And your homework assignment is to watch the new Game of Thrones.
The new Game of Thrones, the starter to the Game of Thrones. The Dragon Lady or whatever it's called. All right, look out. Oh, my God.
Keep talking.
Anyway, hoorah, Semper Fi, gotta go, you're killing me. And we'll have a great weekend, Labor Day, and I gotta go, you're killing me. Look out, Semper Fi, her, hope. Ouch.